Hello and welcome to another wonderful evening of Mahjong in the American Ricci Mahjong League. My name is Ennui, and I am joined tonight by Michael. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay. I'm glad to be doing something as normal as broadcasting. Got in a pretty bad car accident, so I haven't been able to commentate in a while. But
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm hoping everything's all right.
yes, I am good. Kayla, who is actually at the top of Division B3A here that we are going to be watching, was also in that wreck with me. She's a little bit more hurt, but she's also healing pretty well. It'll
That's
be
good to hear.
yes. And it'll be interesting to see how this table goes. We have Viet, who is a Ho-Oh player, very high ranked on Sinho. Eric, who is one of the steady players in Chicago. Jen, who is a pro, and then Jessa, who is the most high scoring person to qualify for the American IORMC team. So as we get underway here, this should be a very fun table to watch. And we see Viet is our first dealer. This is a pretty beautiful hand. Doesn't have enough shapes quite yet, but that 3-4-4-5 Nakabukure in the could very easily generate more, and then could basically accept any Mon tile for
Oh, what a
a better
what a
hand
beautiful
there.
draw already.
Oh yeah, because now that 5-6-6-6 shape is a nice complex shape that you can build off. What do you think Eric is trying to build on the right there?
I'm not quite sure yet. Um, I think is waiting to see if you could possibly make some kind of Ipeco in the upper mon there, but is very likely to just get rid of that right now, I would suspect.
Well, it's actually Tempai could discard the 8 Mon, be waiting on Forso, and is gonna stay
Decides to
Dama.
not take that. Yeah.
I mean, with one Forso
Gee,
already gone, that feels like such a horrible wait. And it does look
It's
like,
early. You
oh,
know,
there's
and
the
now you take
unleash.
it.
And that's going to be Ricci only waiting on Forso 7-so. A nice wait. There's one Forso left in the wall and two 7-so left in the wall. Jessa on the left had just opened her hand for a pure straight, it looked like, in Monzu. Could also have been pushing a Chinitsu. Oh, it deals right in.
And it comes right out. Well, that may have saved Viet some hassle there if he was planning on pushing that hand any further.
Yeah, of course, would have needed to deal a Forso had he not drawn into that shape.
Potentially, at least, yeah.
But now we have Eric as the dealer, 7-pin as Dora. And this is another okay hand for dealer. Complete shape in the Monzu, a couple of Kanchans. You'd like to turn this into a Pinfu, but you're really relying on filling in those shapes.
That seems pretty distant, yeah.
The quicker hand might be the one on the left. There's a few pairs there for Viet, including a pair of Chun. Is actually going to discard the 1-2-so shape, or at least the 1-so from that shape, pretty early here. Oh, and gets an eased.
Oh. Yeah, now I think you're weighing, is the Honitsu worth it, or do I just take my potentially 3 Han hand here?
This seems like the decision point.
Yeah.
Yep. Has the nice
Not worth
6-7
it anymore.
Rionman.
Yeah.
Although, in the meantime, Eric has filled in those bad shapes and is now Ishanten. No path leads to a good weight without some upgrades, but being Ishanten before the end of the first row.
The Tanyao until you can get an upgrade, maybe.
Oh, and I wonder if the 3 Mon or the 5-so got discarded, would you call Pawn?
That's a tough one. I'm not sure. It seems like it's really close.
Jessa across the way was just,
but he takes it.
Yep. And so now we'll be waiting on 5-pin. Jessa across the way just had to choose to discard a Rionman. Is Ishanten herself. All right, and now we finally get a call for Viet. Had drawn the third tune, but nothing else callable had come out for him. Ishan, he is now
Right.
Ishan 10.
And has a chance
Boom.
to, well, now you just take the toy, but there
Absolutely.
was door acceptance there.
Ooh, okay. Eric slides that Mon shape to avoid dealing in on the 5 Mon. Are we going to see a similar slide from Jessa, discarding the 8 pin? No, Jessa deals in again. Right. If that Sozu, she had 6, 7, 8, 9 in Sozu, and then 7, 8 in Mon. So it's still possible to slide down into the Sanshoku. So not, searching for value there. And it was a very cheap deal in. Even with 2 deal ins, everybody's still right next to each other. Oh, look at that.
This hand is, yeah.
Ooh, I would have discarded 1 2 pin probably.
I think the Penchant is probably the standard cut there.
Although with the Penchant, you do maintain Ishanten here. Whereas if you discard the Penchant, you are taking 1 step back, but a very, very efficient step back. On the right, we do see that Jin has double Yakuhai pairs, which is always a speed threat. Although Jess is sort of clinching on to a Haku and Chun that she needs.
And on the left, Viet's hand looks like it's probably going to be, well, Ricci Dora 1, perhaps? I don't... with that 557, Pinfu is looking, well, maybe.
Yeah, if you can make the 5 Mon your pair, draw a 3 pin or 5 pin, that's probably the easiest path towards a Pinfu.
Yeah. The East for Eric is nowhere to be seen yet, but is anticipating it coming out sooner rather than later.
And doesn't want to call Ricci yet, it seems. Could now,
considering it right now.
Because cannot win on the 7 so.
Only one of those. This feels like you're just waiting on Tone.
Yeah, I mean, you basically are. Even if you call Ricci, you don't especially expect to win on the 7 so, but there we go. Now you can win on 7 so because you have the Ipeco. Oh, but I think
that's a nice pickup.
I feel like I would like to call Ricci here because the increase in value is pretty enormous. If you win on the East Dama, it's going to be 3 Han. So you get almost 6,000 point increase by calling Ricci.
Katagiri, they're hoping to bait out.
Jin drawing a Hatsu, really thinking about this. 2 of the Hatsu already cut, but is going to hold it. A chance at 3 little dragons and a Honitsu would be massive.
G.
Jessa calls for Tanyo.
Yep, is Ishanten. A fairly wide Ishanten at that. Oh, wow, what a draw. Now we have the Tenpai, the Hellweight Tenpai for Honitsu, Dora 1, Haku, Chun, Shosangen. That
would definitely be an upset.
Oh, yeah. Get the Hanuman out here.
Each.
Now we're going to get the Ricci at the start of the 3rd row. Maybe sensing the danger.
Yeah.
Try to make Jin back off, although I don't see Jin folding at this point. That hand's just so valuable. Although the Hellweight, it's just so easy to never win a Hellweight.
Where are those Easts?
They're nowhere to be found. There's only 10 tiles left in the wall. Oh, there it is.
That has to come out, right?
Oh, but Jin's really thinking about it.
Oh no.
What a dodge! I mean, this is still an incredible hand.
That's a remarkable dodge, yeah.
So that downgrades this to a Mongon instead of a Hanuman. Oh, there's the Hatsu. Obviously, you can't win. There we go. So 1,500 each to Eric and Jin. Wow, that was an incredible play by Jin. Which we should expect as she's a pro.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little bit of a, I mean, not exclusively a pro read, but I guess I shouldn't be as surprised that we saw that play.
I mean, I feel like I'm a very defensive player. I feel like I would have dealt in there too. Just God, it's just so many points. But we are still in East 2. There's now 1,600 points in the middle of the table with 1 Ricci stick and 2 Honba. Eric's hand is got a couple of nice middle floaters that we can build off of. Can accept the Dora 6-mon into the Manzu. That 3-mon really helps make this hand look a little bit further along.
What do you do with 3 terminal pairs? Do you just start cutting a pair here? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Especially because you have so many Rionmans. I mean, there's 4 Rionmans in this hand. Like, sometimes you might hold on to the terminal pairs if, you know, you think you can go for some sort of outside Yaku, or if you think you can make a switch towards G-Toy or Toy-Toy. But with 4 Rionmen, you're just hoping to make Pinfu. So I would ditch the most dangerous looking terminal pair personally, but I'm a coward, so. Look, we could get an Ipeco on the left. We have 5 pairs from Viet, but 2 of those pairs are 1122 pin, and then the other 2 are 7799 mon. With 2 8-mon already gone, probably no Rianpeco dreams here, but
this looks like a Chi-Toy play.
Wouldn't be the most unreasonable Toy in the world, other than the fact that there's no Anko in the hand currently. But all of those are reasonable tiles to try and call. Except for the 7-mon, I suppose.
I don't see a Toy. It just doesn't seem like the kind of play I think you would make here. Though, I mean, you might see it from another player.
Yeah, I mean, if you draw into an Anko, that's when you really start to consider it. All right, we see Eric discarding the 7-mon before the 9-mon. Like a little Sakagiri move there. The 9-mon more likely to be safe, especially now that the 8-mon is completely walled off. We see all 4 8-mon in the discards. Ooh, what a draw. Not Senpai.
Interesting Ishan 10 for Eric here.
I mean, and incredibly wide. You're almost certainly going to end up on a Nobitan weight here.
Yeah, the only way...
Oh, no. Viet drew into Tenpai, and then immediately gets the Tuso off of Eric.
Yeah, that's an interesting hand because, like, it looks like Itsu, but the only tile to draw into Itsu Tenpai is, like, the 3-mon, if I understand. So
you could 1-mon, 3-mon, 4-mon, or 6-pin all would have given you either Itsu or a chance at Itsu. Because if you draw 1-mon or 4-mon, that would become your pair, and you'd reach you on the 3-mon.
Oh, sure.
But wow,
right, okay, I misread the shape a little bit.
I mean, it was a very weird sequency hand with no set pair yet. Jin's hand here, though, is absolutely bonkers. This is Ishan 10 already for Ipeco, Pinfu, Tanyao, perhaps. Can get so much, but we do see on the left that Eric is already calling for a Honitsu. Called the East, has a pair of Haku, has a pair of 1-pin. We see the call there. And there's Tenpai, Jin not getting the Tanyao.
You just take it. Yeah, you do not want to let Eric take your beautiful hand away from you.
So 4-pin, 7-pin is the weight. On 4-pin, it will just be Riichi Pinfu. On 7-pin, we would add Ipeco.
Each.
Oh, and we're going to have a chase. Viet waiting on 6-pin, 9-pin, and that is also Riichi Pinfu, can get Sanshoku on the 9-pin. And we have Tenpai on the left for 1-mon, 4-mon. So 3 Tenpais before turn 6.
Debating whether to switch weights here. Does.
Yeah, there's the 1-pin! Immediately rewarded. I don't know if I've ever seen 3 hands get to Tenpai so fast.
I don't think so either.
I mean, 2 Riichis, and then the open hand wins on like turn 5. It's always hard to count turns, I guess, when there's calls. That makes things a little bit weirder, but still, incredibly fast hand, and Eric comes out on top. So everybody's still so close together here. Nobody able to hit the massive value yet. Jessa, though, can accept the Dora 2-mon here, but the rest of her hand's a little bit of a mess. The Monzu and the Sozu especially need a lot of work. Has a pair of the Haku, though, to try and rush things along.
None of the other hands look that remarkable here.
Everybody just has... Oh, that 3-so really helps Viet out, I think, because now you have 2 complete shapes. If you can just replace that 1-2-mon with like even just a better middle tile, you'd be well on your way.
Jessa sees an opportunity to fill a bad shape and takes it, calling out the Zuke.
A pretty with a hand that is still so far away from Tenpai, I think that makes a lot of sense, especially since you want to hold on to the rulership. Now, do you take the good chi? Would you have taken the chi there as well?
I mean, probably, but then I'm still worried about so I've still left myself I mean, it was going to be headless either way. So
I tend to hold out a little bit longer on calling my better shapes there. Just because those are more likely to fill on their own. Like the 7-mon, I think I would call instantly, especially since we could get towards Sanshoku that way.
I think the 4 would be more important to take on a Tanyao.
Oh, yes.
Than in this hand.
Ooh, passes the Haku. Oh, it draws the 8-mon.
Interesting.
Kind of committing to the 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku here, Jessa is. We do have a Tenpai on the right for 4-pin, 7-pin from Viet. What do you think of that Haku pass from Jessa?
Well, the instantly being rewarded with the head is a thing. I don't know if I don't think I rely on the Sanshoku when I have an alternate path to Tenpai or to a Yaku.
Yeah, especially since none of those are completed in hand yet. Only the one that was open. Viet did end up sumoing the Tanyao Dora 1. Jessa has an incredible hand this time, but she's not dealer. Let's get to her in a second. Viet has a very good hand. We're like alternating back and forth between everybody having incredible hands and everybody having miserable hands.
Right.
I mean, this is Ishan. No. This is Ishan 10.
Yeah. I think we've got 2 mediocre hands on the table too here, though. So
things are a little bit more evenly split, I suppose. There's the double south pair for Eric, though. So that definitely makes his hand look a little bit better. The Dora is the 9-pin, which Viet has 1, and Jessa can accept.
Each.
So, there's Tenpai.
There's this is just the textbook hand here, like Pinfu hand, so.
And no information for anybody to play on.
Really, you've got 1 Tsuji.
I guess according when you're
two.
counting the number of suits, yeah, I would call that 3. I mean, it can't be
It's
6'9", it can't be 2'5", and it can't be 5'8". Or are you
sure.
thinking
Okay, yeah,
about
3 out of 18. It's still not much.
it is very, very, very little. But that also means that you can push most things and probably be fine. It's just a matter of what you're willing to push with. That 8 mon is a nice draw for Jin. That hand's still not really worth much though. Just pushing the terminal for now. There's the South. Will Eric call? Does not.
No, it doesn't want to fight from that position. Or is hoping to maybe kind of Mawashi his way to Chitoi.
Right, and that is my favorite thing about Chitoi is the ability to play defensively and still randomly end up Tenpai for it. Now we have Arichi on the left for Richi Pinfu. 2 mon, 5 mon is the weight for Jessa there. Making things a little bit more complicated. Although what's nice when you're having to play defense against 2 people is in this case, you could basically just look at what's going to be safe against Jessa. Almost. Oh, and there's the 5 mon. So that beautiful weight so early just never came to fruition. And it's not like a lot of 3-so, 6-so were in people's hands. We could see 4 of them and the other 4 were in the wall. Turns out 1 was the Ura indicator. That evens things out a little bit going into South 2. I mean, not that we've ever had more than like a 6,000 point gap between first and last, but second through fourth are all within 1K, 1,300. So very, very tight here. And man, this Sozu shape's a little bit annoying. I hate this 77899 shape if I'm Eric, because you're like, oh, the value of Ipeco. But then also it's just so hard to fill. That 5 pin is beautiful though.
Yeah. I think if you just hope to pair up something and live with your like weird Kanchan Ipeco, just embrace it, I think.
Yeah, I think, well, and you can also accept the Dora 6-so into that shape to make it a little bit more complex, a little bit more efficient. So I think embracing it probably is good. We have a pair of Hatsu across the way for Jessa. Is 2 Shanten there, has too many shapes at the moment.
Boom.
Probably discard the Pinchon, and does. Ishanten now for Jessa. Eric, Ishanten as well, probably. Yes.
Yes, it's just awkward.
Yeah, there's no good Tenpais here. Oh, that's interesting. Is going to push for the Itsu.
Huh.
Which is not something I think I would have ever thought to do here.
That seems unorthodox.
But, I mean, you were going to end up... basically, any closed weight you ended up with was going to be a bad weight. In one step, at least. This way, now, you can chi the Dora 6-so and then be Tenpai, which would be very nice. Jessa made another call, but is not Tenpai, so I'm not entirely sure what happened over there. I missed the last couple of discards. I think she made some sort of shift in her hand. It looks like
we're just Rionmen, Ishan with Dora acceptance.
Oh, there's the 2 pin!
Fills in. So now we have an Arianmen wait for Eric.
There's 1 9-so left in the wall and 3 Dora. A possible Sanshoku from Viet on the left. Although, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a huge... The 666 7888 mon shape, I assume is beautiful, but it's not a shape that I really want to spend a lot of time thinking about.
Gee.
Yeah, that's one of those shapes where you see it in the problem books, and you're like, well, do I really need to know this shape?
How often am I going to see this come up? We have 4 pin, 7 pin Tenpai for Jessa across the way. for Hatsunomi.
I
20
think
tiles
this
left.
leaves Viet in an
Ooh.
awkward to read Ishan 10.
No,
Now,
this
now
is-
Tenpai.
No, that's
No?
Ishan 10. Not
No, it's
Tenpai
not.
yet.
That's
You-
Ishan 10.
there we go.
Now
But what's
it
your
is.
pair now?
There it
Oh,
is.
it's gonna take it Tanyao.
Boom.
I was thinking maybe discard the 4-mon, and then you have, but that would have been 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. No, that doesn't work either.
I think
You-
that worked before the call. Or yeah, there was a pair there, like I think earlier in the hand.
But ends up with just the Tanyao, which puts it into that hand. And we're going into South 3, and still no one's made any big moves yet. We've had a couple of huge Tenpais, but neither of them came to pass. Across the way, Viet had, it looked like all of the terminals and honors. I didn't count them, but is discarding them right off the bat. So it's going to try and make a normal hand, possibly an outside hand. Does have an Anko of the Shah, of his seat wind, the West. Matsu is Dora. No one has any yet. Our dealer Jin does not have a good hand.
No, it's not fantastic.
And you really want to convert on your dealership in a game like this, because with everything so close, I mean, one dealer Mongon, or even a 7,700 point hand, if you sumo it, is going to put you in first. And the difference
Right.
between being in first and the possibility of someone maybe sumoing you into third is much different than being in last and someone just getting a one-on hand and ending the game, which is kind of what feels like is going to happen the pace this game is gone.
Viet is slowly putting a hand together. Looks like it may end up Doratanki.
Yeah, I got some really good draws in the Sozu and Manzu there. Could even end up with a Sanshoku if you really bent things a little bit here, though it looks unlikely.
Yeah, the pin draws are not coming.
Ooh, do you discard 4-pin here?
I think so.
It's taking a lot of thought, and does. It
Was
taking
really
that-
weighing the Sanshoku, like, the chances.
There's a 6-0. That is going to put Jessa. Well, yeah, that's still Ishan 10. No, that's 2 Shanten now. If you discard 2-pin, you're Ishan 10. But does not want an Anko in hand. Jessa gonna force a Pinfu here.
Gee.
Or a Sanshoku once again. So Jessa once again forcing Sanshoku. We'll see if it pans out this time.
I really don't like relying on my Kamicha as much as Open Sanshoku often does.
Yeah, especially, and I think it's important to think about who your Kamicha is. So the player to your left, like if you're playing someone who you know is very aggressive, then you can be a lot more willing to open your hands like this, because you know that even if it's obvious you're going for, say, Honitsu, they still might be forced into playing into your
They'll
hand.
feed you. Right.
When the player
Or
on
they
your
won't.
left, or they won't. And in this case, when the player on your left is a pro and very good at reading hands, you know, with something like Sanshoku, I really only have to call that once. Because if you have to call twice and it becomes obvious what you're going for, it becomes a lot easier for
Right.
the player on your left to not feed you anymore. God,
I
Jin's
have a
draws
tendency.
are just not.
Yeah, I have a tendency to Sakigiri into Honitsu's up to a certain point, so that has gotten me in trouble though.
There's Tempai.
Yeah.
Can only win on the 6-mon. So 6-mon, 9-mon wait for Jessa.
No.
Oh,
Oh,
immediately comes out of Viet's
That's so-
hand.
I mean, that's just the way the hand went. But
Well, and now if
frustrating
you're
for Viet here.
and if you're Eric, you can get the tiniest plus 20 Uma ever. You just gotta get a quick one-on hand. All three other players below 30k. If you're Jessa, you are in a very good position to just steal first out of nowhere here. Actually, anybody could steal first. A Moncon Sumo from any player is first place, except for Jessa, in which case there'd be another round. So like it's not like it would be secure,
Well,
but still.
Who's
I mean,
okay?
God,
So
that
who's got the
draw.
chances? Jen has the Yakuhai pair. Viet has an Itsu
Basically locked and loaded.
cooking
Gee.
over on the right.
Or Sanshoku. Yeah, that could very easily end up golden one away with a 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku. Not very common. Probably discard south here. Yep. And we already have a call from Eric, who recognizes the benefit of getting this hand over as quick as possible. Another 4-mon for Jessa. So this is Ishanten now. Actually decided to take... I guess, yeah, this is a headless Ishanten. Draws the 1-so again. Really wants to pair up the Dora. We see 2 other Dora already out though. Viet has one and Jin has one. We have Tenpai now for Eric, waiting 6-mon, 8-mon. I don't see any reason to call this.
Yeah, I don't know why this is hitching for so long here.
Discards Dora. Now we have the 5-pin.
Oh, that's awkward.
Kind of a little late for it here. Is going to actually follow suit, discard the totally safe 2-pin, even though it's Dora. We
That
have
makes sense.
a Katagiri from Eric, perhaps trying to make people think that his weight might be in Pinzu rather than Mon.
Oh,
And Viet and Jessa were so ready to go so early, but just nothing has come together for them.
yeah.
Really giving Eric an advantage here. I mean, all of the 8-mon are already in hands. There's only one 6-mon left in the wall. So it's gonna be hard for Eric to win this. You could actually ditch an 8. You could have ditched an 8-mon there and waited on 7-mon. But then you wouldn't have Tanyao. So I wonder if you draw 7-mon, can you ditch the 6-mon and take a 5-8 weight? Would that be better?
I don't know.
Yeah, Jessa really thinking about the 5-mon
Gee.
here again. Cheese 3, 4, 5. Okay, this secures a pair in the hand and makes it to where she could chi either 5-pin, 8-pin, or 3-so.
Gee.
And
there's
there's the other
8-pin.
chi, yeah.
All right, 3-so, which is a hell weight. And that 3-so pretty well locked
Yeah,
in
'cause-
Viet's hand.
Viet Sakigiri'd the 3 a couple turns ago.
Oh, there's a 6-mon, but that fits. So now that's Tenpai 2-so, 5-so, but no Yaku. Oh, Pinfu, obviously, duh. Who pays attention to Pinfu? Not me.
Oh, that's a pretty spooky tile, but you don't really have a choice.
Yeah. Well, and it's weird because you don't want to call Ricci really either. But because if you call Ricci and then say Jin wins a small hand, you could very easily end in 4th. Whereas
Right.
the Pinfu
Yeah,
will
no,
get you
that's-
above
that's-
30k.
You're just locked into this Dama here.
And there's actually 3 tiles still left in the wall. I see 2-so, so there's 2 of those left in the wall.
You just have to chuck this again. No,
Nah,
oh,
you
no,
can,
you
you
can.
can toss the 5, yeah. Oh, there's the 5. That's gonna
Oh,
deal in.
There it is.
But even direct off of Eric, I mean, Pinfu Dora 1 is not going to be enough to change positions.
No, Viet just wants to be positive.
All right. Well,
and manages it.
that was quite the game. I mean, we never saw. I mean, was the biggest hand we saw 2 Han that game? I think it was. I think I mean, this is easy to check, but
yes, that's correct.
2 Han and below only. Absolutely wild.
240 was the biggest hand in that game.
This was, I mean, for everybody at the table, for the 2 people up top, for Eric and Viet, this was a best possible outcome. Eric really wants to try and push up into the playoff and guaranteed spots. Viet really wants to secure his guaranteed spot into B2, so those positives are great for them. Jin and Jessa, I mean, these are very, very small numbers. I mean, a negative 18 third place is not uncommon, so...
Right.
You're not, you're not distraught over a negative 18 here as Jin, but it definitely makes your job so much harder, especially considering how much of a gap there was to begin with between you and the playoff spots.
Yeah, that's a bit disheartening. That's definitely not how you needed this to start, but 3 games left, so...
Yeah, so a lot of
we
opportunities.
Could definitely see games with... Yeah, we could definitely see games with bigger scores than plus and minus 18 coming up.
I would assume we would with this table. A lot of potential to earn value here. I mean, although if you look, I mean, Viet and Eric here both have incredibly low deal-ins and very significantly low deal-in averages. So they are not feeding big hands. Whereas Jin and Jessa both have been dealing in a little bit more. Jessa has a very high deal-in rate, while Jin has a fairly average deal-in rate, but a much higher average deal-in value.
Right.
You're really going to need to turn that around right about now, though, if you want to stay in B3. Did Jessa miss a couple games earlier in the season? I'm just noticing that.
Yes,
I
believe 2 games. Yes.
Okay. That would make sense, as she is 2 games behind everyone else at this table. All right, we do with it in this next Hanchan about to start. Jin will be our first dealer, and then Eric, then Viet, then Jessa. So just kind of shifting things around a bit here. I always have a little bit of fun when I'm playing. I think in like 3 different sessions this year, I have been east, west, south, and north in my 4 games. And keeping track of that sort of stuff is just fun to me. All green? There's 6 green tiles here. So I think Jin is obviously going to go for all green. Nothing else to discuss there. The Dora is the Haku. We see on the left, Jessa already has an Anko of the East. Is actually Ishanten right off the bat.
Already, yeah. That's a pretty incredible high pie, actually. At least for, if you don't need a ton of value.
Could call that north for Tempai. There we go.
I mean, why not, I suppose. With for the East 1, you don't need more than 2 Han yet.
1 pin, 4 pin. The only thing that might save Eric here is there's a potential for Itsu. Often players will... Let's see. But there wouldn't be a Tempai. Yeah, your next drop is probably going to be a pair. Either the Naimon or the 8-So. Ooh. Yeah, discards a 1 pin right
Yeah, that was the wrong draw.
All right, so deals into double Yakuhai. We have another hand ended in the first row at this table. So things proceeding at a blazing pace here. Eric's dealership in this hand is fine. Just fine. Can accept the Dora 2-1 twice. Yep. A lot of pinch on. for Viet. A lot of complete shapes already for Jessa. That is another Ishanten hand, a perfect Ishanten. One of the Ryeonman shape there is a Sanminchan. It's a 3-sided weight, so I would call that a super perfect Ishanten. But that's just, I made that term up, so don't go quoting that to anybody.
リーチ
There's the Riichi, and does get the 3-sided weight, although does not get pin food. That's going to be Riichi Nomi, waiting on 2-pin, 5-pin, 8-pin. And all of the 2-pin are in hand, actually. And there's only one 5-pin left in the wall. And there's only two 8-pin left in the wall.
Okay.
So this weight not near as good as it looked.
Yeah, I was wondering what was like, you know. Yeah, I was going to say the one slow pair feels like it's about to come out there, which handles well there now Jen needs another head, but I don't know how much she's thinking about trying to win this hand anyway, so
I mean, she will almost certainly end up with Tanya with that hand. Probably ends up with a good weight. Could even end up with a complex Tonki with the way the Manzu are, although does have a pair now and so.
I think you just that's a tough one.
Yeah, draws Dora, ditches 5-mon, which is safe. So Ishanten now. That Forso is also safe. So we have a pretty clear path to a chase for Jin.
Eric now waiting Tenpai for 2-pin for Chitoi.
Oh boy.
ドン
A doomed draw. There's no way to keep Tenpai without dealing in here. And the Riichi Nomi wins it. I believe last time Jessa dealt into Eric twice consecutively with 1-han hands to start off the Hanchan. And this time we're just going the other way around with Eric dealing in twice consecutively to Jessa.
That's certainly what it seems like.
But as it is, we're at Viet's dealership here, and, well, this hand looks pretty good. You only need to find another shape somewhere. You're lacking middle tiles to do that with, but you've got 2 Dora, so you could also just kind of open this hand and hope for the best later. We'll see what Viet does. There's your 5th shape.
There it is. So, I mean, these you don't love these Kanchan, but you do have the ability to call for them.
Yeah, Chin once again dealt just a bad hand. 3 Pinchan and then 2 Kanchan, according to how you read it, I guess. Very little to work with there for Jin. Although Jessa has a pretty reasonable hand on the right. Could end up with 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku, according to how you improve those shapes. Viet Ishanten really just needs a 7-mon or a 3-pin here. There it is.
What a draw.
So this is going to be Dama, Tanyao Dora 2. And that is 7,700 on a Ron. Would be a 4-han sumo. Would still only be 30 fu though. But since we have Kiraragi Mangan, I just make up whatever letters I think are in that word. I have no clue. But ooh, can start sliding towards Sanshoku here. Discard Forso. And then if you draw the 8-so, you're starting to get towards Hanuman territory. Jessa gonna open for a Tanyao herself. Ooh, there's an extra 3-pin though. Discards from the Nobaton first. Yet. Could wind up in a little bit of danger there. Ideally for Jessa, she draws the 8-pin so that the 3-pin is forced into becoming the pair. Jin has managed to get somewhere with that hand across the way. A 3-pin and a 7-pin is all that stands between Jin and an Itsu in the pin. Oop, that 8-so gets her one closer. She's now Ishan 10. Ooh, another 3-pin. That actually is fine as well. So now we're Tenpai waiting on 6-pin for Jessa. Jin needs that final 3-pin to get to Tenpai or to win an Itsu, according to the order of things. Viet needs that final 3-pin to win. Viet has slid down a little here. Ooh.
Oh.
So now it's 3-pin, 6-pin, 8-pin.
G.
All right, better weight here.
What? That's a fortuitous series of draws for Jessa.
Yeah, prevent the deal in and make a slightly wider weight. All of the 8, there's no 8-pin left in the wall. But we could imagine a universe where Viet draws the 5-pin and discards the 8-pin. It could happen. I doubt it, but it could happen. That world exists. All right, and we have the 3-pin Tenpai for Jin as well now. Jessa, what you gonna do? Yep, just toss the 5-pin back.
No reason to mess with your nice Intotsu there.
Yeah, we're just gonna
Not
end
this
up
late.
with 3 Tenpais. Eric not finding it. I mean, that Ryokyoku, again, another word that I just take a random guess at every time I say it. And I know Nathaniel is gonna say it like behind the scenes for me so I can hear what it sounds like. Yeah, he did. And you know what? It didn't help me. I'll practice later. But that caused the biggest gap in scores we have seen at this table yet. This Hanchan or last. Viet has a pair of the Souths. Can't call it, though. Across the way, Jin has 4 pairs and a complete run in So. It'll be really interesting to see what she does there. I mean, that is Ishan 10. Was Ishan 10 for Chitoy. She dropped the 2-so. So obviously favoring a normal hand here. And look at that. She's going to have a chance at San Anko, I imagine. Yes. Calls Richi, waiting on 3-pin Hatsu. It is Richi Nomi currently, but a Ron on Hatsu will add a Yakuhai. A Sumo on 3-pin would add San Anko. A Sumo on Hatsu would add both. Sans, the 7-mon, flips the 6-mon as the new Dora, which doesn't really benefit anybody. I mean, Jessa has a 6-mon, but the 6-mon are much harder to use now if the 7-mon blocked off with that Kabe of 7-mon. But this weight is so live in the wall. I mean, we don't see any 3-pin or any Hatsu anywhere.
The wall keeps taunting Viet about, like, oh, you could have been Chitoy, like, Tenpai already. It's like...
Chitoy always feels that way. Oh, there's the Hatsu. Drops the shot instead. The West confirmed safe. The Hatsu's still live. Shonpai. Viet really thinking about the Chi there. Doesn't take it.
That Chi doesn't feel so good. I wonder if that was just a Tenho giving us a pause.
It is possible. The length of the Tenho pauses I still haven't really figured out yet. There's finally a 3-pin. It does not fit into the hand at all. But what's Viet going to do with it? Yeah, toss an east. Yeah, and Jessa, I didn't even notice this, but Jessa discarded the Dora 6-mon instead of discarding the Hatsu.
G.
Uh-oh.
Well,
That's
I
a
wonder
dangerous
how
call.
No.
tightly that's in the hand. It is not.
All right, the value of this hand is going to be all in the Ura, and it's not there. So still just a 2-Han hand. 60 Fu. 2-Han 60 Fu. I mean,
Two
that's
Han
like
60.
that's
Our
like
new record for this table.
there we go. Yeah, it's the poor woman's 3-Han. We can call it for Jin there. So Jin stepping out in front with that win. It is now Jessa's dealership. 5-pin is Dora. She has one of those. And some nice shapes besides. Still, this is another hand where you are lacking the 5th shape that you want, but with 3 Rion men, you feel like you could probably get there pretty quickly. You might be racing Eric across the way, though, who has called his seat wind and has nothing else at all currently. I mean, 159
Yeah, that's what a jumble.
But sometimes you're just never going to get to Tenpai unless you call everything. So we'll see how that pans out. Viet passes on the East Pone.
Passes the second tone, so that hand he cannot call that hand anymore. Just wasn't worth fighting for, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, there's no value in it. At least not yet. And those are going to be safe tiles later. We'll see where he ends up going. Jessa does now have 5 blocks, but we're getting towards the ends of the first row, and it's still 3 Shanten. There we go. That's an improvement. Could even maybe hedge towards some sort of Sanshoku, but that would involve sliding the So shape.
The Shanten is betrayed a little bit by the fact that the 1-9 Shabo is now dead. So
that's true. So I guess you can't count both of those as shapes, really. I mean, you can. Well, I mean, it technically is Shanten. You can have a dead Tenpai. There's nothing wrong with that. Does improve to a Furaten Ryanman there with the 2-3 so. So discarding the dead pair of 1-mon that you pointed out. Is gonna hope to finish the 2-3 so shape.
This suddenly looks okay.
Yeah. But we have a Riichi.
It's better than it could be.
Waiting on 3 so for Jin on the right. That's Riichi Nomi. And once again, calling Riichi on a very live tile. 3 of those still left in the wall. I wonder if that's just like luck or if that is pro level, like reading, like I'm going to aim for this weight because I feel like nobody has it. Not being a pro, impossible for me to say. Yeah, Jess is really accelerated here. Has been able to discard safe tiles into this Riichi. Now has a choice to make. I mean, you gotta keep the
2-pin or the 2-so. Sorry, goes out.
I was gonna say 4-pin. I mean, a 4-pin looks much more dangerous here, but it's not like you're gonna discard a Dora into this, and now you have to take the Shabo. Whereas if you had discarded the 4-pin before, I mean, you deal in on the 3-so, but at least you have Pinfu. Oh, right. That's right. Oh, it gets the Apatsumo on the Dora! Riichi, Apatsu, Sumo, Ipeco, Tanya, Aldora 3! A Baimon! All 2-Han hands up until East 4 of the second Hanchan, and out of nowhere, Jessa Sumo's a dealer Baimon. 24k just
that
blitzed.
Is nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm reeling.
And then we've got, well, this 2-so kind of being locked in as a really funky pair here. All right, that 5-pin makes me feel a lot better about this high pie. Now we've got 3 Ryanmen.
Yeah,
we can get rid of our 1-3-mon. We can accept the Dora 9-mon. This feels good. And this 3-so is going to give you more flexibility with that so shape.
I think you just start cutting the 1-3 now. Yeah.
We do see Viet on the left with a mountain of Manzu. I mean, it has 4 pairs of Manzu.
That's definitely going to be a Chinitsu attempt.
I could see it becoming a Honitsu. But you do really want the Chinitsu here. Or maybe just Chitoi.
That's
How about Chitoi Dora 2? Yeah, I would
I
would also I mean Chitoi Doro 2 is still nice. And the East has already been once cut.
It's the right move.
Four pairs on the right for Jin. The hand's still a little all over the place. Now could entertain the idea of a 4-5-6 Sanshoku. The mixed triple sequence. There's another 3-mon. Is still gonna ditch the Hatsu first.
It's interesting seeing the decisions being made between, you know, how much do I weigh the Chitoi? How much do I weigh the Chinitsu?
Yeah, no Hatsu had been cut yet.
Very expensive on the board, though.
Yeah, I mean, nobody has them. All right, now we have a nice, well, not quite old-fashioned Ricci for Eric. This is Ricci Nomi.
The Chi here does not take the Chi.
The 5-so are safe, too, so that Chi really feels like it would have been an interesting call. I mean, that does leave the 7-mon kind of abandoned up at the top. It might make it, I mean, with how expensive Manzu is, might make playing defense hard, but with a Chinitsu, I mean, it's not like Eric's dealer. Is waiting on 1-pin, 4-pin. No other Yaku other than Ricci because of the Shaw pair, which is his seat wind.
Yeah. Viet sensing danger in the Pinzu here.
Oh, and there's the 4-pin from Jessa. Just gonna deal right in. Sharing the wealth. Flipping an Uradura even for Eric there. Not enough for Eric to get out of last, but making the bottom 3 places a little bit closer there. Now everybody within about Mongon range. Mongon Sumo for Eric. Mongon Ron won't be enough to get in camp. But we enter South 1. Jin with another interesting hand. Has a Dora North.
That is...
That so shape is kind of funky. When you already have a pair in hand, that 8-9-9-9 shape feels a lot worse. Although,
yeah, I feel like once you get the rest of your shapes established, the 8 probably just isn't very useful to you anymore. But there's a way to go before that point.
Eric with decent shapes here. Again, that 7-7-8-8 mon is really awkward because you want 6 and 9 twice, and 4 of those have already been discarded. So it's gonna be really hard for Eric's hand to get to an Ipeco Pinfu kind of business. That 3-pin might help though. You might eventually end up cutting a 7-8 mon from your hand.
Well, that's one way to solve the weird pair issue with the upper Sozu, is just draw the last 9-so.
I didn't even see that. Well, a Terminal Khan, I mean, Jin already has gotten 160 Fu hand. A Terminal Han would make it minimum 60 Fu again, which would be fun to see.
Yeah, that's definitely an option for the hand here.
God, just keeps drawing Manzu though, which is not what she needs.
Yeah, that 7 feels like a pretty painful backfire there.
A 4-5-6 Sanshoku possible for Viet.
That certainly seems to be what he's thinking about.
Okay, Eric just totally discarding the So shape. Is Eric gonna, with all the Manzu on the board, is Eric forcing like a Chinitsu here?
It certainly seems like he's entertaining it. I
Jin really
don't love
having
that play, but
yeah,
with his
it's
point situation, I think I get it.
and pulls in the Forso on the con. Flips east as the new Dora, which two have been discarded by Jin. So not really going to be helpful to anybody. Jessa has one in hand, but can't really do much with it. Viet Sakagiring the 5-pin, discarding a tile that could be dangerous later on.
リーチ
And there's a
What a
2-pin!
draw. What a draw.
Incredible. And now we have the 9-pin 8-so Tenpai. There's one of those left in the wall. All the rest are in Jessa's hand.
Oh, the 9 is trapped too.
Oh, but the 8-so now. If Jessa ends up chasing, that 8-so very well could come out.
Yes, easily.
I mean, and this is Richi Nomi, although it is 60 Fu currently. On a Sumo, 70 Fu on a Ron. There's a 9-pin. It is Suji. Has safe tiles. So far, Jessa has avoided dealing in. Ooh, a pair of Hatsu. The Hatsu are still
nobody's
alive.
bothering. Nope. Nobody wants to like. I think they suspect this could be a monster hand. Nobody looks like they want to touch it.
I mean, dealer cons are always a little bit more scary.
Chi.
All right, there's a Chi. That takes away. Jin was going to have the final draw, so would have had a chance at Hote there. But with Viet calling the Chi, it shifted the final draw to Eric, both making Eric's final discard a little bit more dangerous and preventing Jin from getting a monster sumo.
That's a play that I know people make, but I just don't feel confident ever doing it myself.
It really, I mean, honestly, it only really makes sense to do if you have either it's going to leave you Tenpai or you have a guaranteed save tile in hand. Like, it's not worth making that call, not having a save tile, and then dealing in
Right.
on the very, 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 very low chance of Under the Sea. Like, it is such a rare thing to come by. I think it's a lot more common, actually, to see that same sort of trick used in Sanma with Kitas. Calling Kita to take draws away to prevent someone from getting another draw. It's a little bit easier to manage in Sanma than it is in 4-player.
Sure.
The 1-pin is the
so
Dora
what's going
here, which
on?
Jin has. I mean, could an outside shot at an Ipeiko, not Ipeiko, an Itsu, that's the one, a straight in the Pinzu, but it looks more likely it's just going to build towards some sort of normal Pinfu type hand.
Right. Viet is Ishanten, but is not getting the draws he needs just yet.
And that also
nice
would be
pickup for
normal
Eric.
Pinfu. What did Eric pick up?
No. The 2-pin.
Ooh.
To help with that 3-3-4-4 shape.
That hand also has 4 pairs.
Yeah, but it does. It's not one like. It still looks like you play it normally, even if you can, play. You keep it the option open, but now you definitely
Nanko.
just play it normally.
Yeah, Ishanten there. Yeah, Viet, we've seen do a lot of Sakagiri. Discarded that when you were making the comment about the perfect Ishan 10 drops ago for Viet.
Oh yeah,
And-
no, it's beginning of row 2 is too late for some people to keep a 5.
And that is
Ricci.
probably part of what explains Viet incredibly low deal-in rate. We now have the Ricci waiting on 2-mon, 5-mon, and this is
We're gonna
Ricci
get a
Dora
chase?
3. You're chasing a
Considering
monster.
chasing.
Really thinking about it. That would be Ricci
Definitely
Tanyao,
thinking about
possibly Peiko. Gonna stay Dama.
Dama.
Needs more time to think. I mean, once again, Jessa holding just about all of the deal-in tiles. Oh, there's the 2-mon. Defold. Yes!
Yes.
Avoids dealing in. Doesn't call Ricci. On the first turn after what would have been the Ricci, draws the deal-in tile and says, you know what? I don't think so. I mean, Monzu looked so expensive right now.
And Viet also starts folding.
Viet in kind of a rough position to fold from, though. Doesn't have much in the way of safe tiles.
Yes.
Now has the one so. Had to go with Nakasuji first round and Suji the second. But everyone should have enough safety at this point to get through. We do see Tempai for Eric. That's a call for K10. Just wants
That's
to
a
be
bold
Tempai at
move,
draw.
but with the point situation, I get it.
Do you drop the 3-mon? Nope, does not dare drop the 3-mon. Was able to do it while dropping safe tiles. So again, like just like calling to shift the deal makes sense if you have safe tiles. Calling for K10 definitely makes sense if you've got safe tiles.
Oh, but
Immediately
ended up
folded.
yeah, didn't end up working, but it was worth the shot.
Oh, and now this is a great high pie for Jin. Discarding the South. We'd see, I know there are many players in the ARML who would have dropped 7-pin there. I wouldn't. Because I'm not that greedy for Honitsu. But a lot of players would chase the Honitsu dream here. Jin, though, so far looking for perhaps a more regular hand. We'll see. Is not,
I think,
ruled it out yet.
with 2,600 in the pot, I think you take Hakudora 1.
Yeah, especially since it looks like you are very
Especially
likely to end up on a good weight. Like, if you can
Right.
G the 2-pin or 5-pin and discard 1-mon, then you end up with what? 3-mon, 4-mon, 7-mon as your winning tiles?
Yeah, 3, 4, 7. Yeah, that's one of those compound like weights that's a little hard to see at first, but
End of row 1. I feel like the players are on freaking lightning mode. How have they already made 6 discards?
G.
There's the cheat.
it's a
3, 4,
pretty
7
great
weight.
weight.
Still 2 3-mon left in the wall. No 4-mon left in the wall. And no 7-mon left in the wall. This is all tied up in people's hands.
It looks a lot better than it is.
I mean, by the book, it's a pretty good weight. Again, the Monzu just keeps being so expensive. I mean, the only Monzu that have been dropped are 2 1-mon. And everybody's using the Monzu that Jin needs here. Could change your weight here. I mean, that would give you another Dora. That would make this Haku Dora 2 just have less wide of a weight.
Yeah, it decides to take the Ariane men, but the 8 is also really bad.
Yeah, the 8, 3 of them in people's hands, 3 5-mon in people's hands. So actually, as far as sumoing is concerned, this weight is exactly the same. But now you can get that extra 5-mon for the Mongon.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, it ends up being a good switch. Like, in effect.
I do think I would have ended up discarding 2-mon, though. Take the 3-mon.
And there's
just gonna deal into Tanyao.
It's just going to take Tanyao and collect the pot here.
Tanyao and run. Viet with an obvious Daisang in hand. We'll check on the progress of that later and ignore the fact that Jessa has 2 Hatsu.
Did we somehow get Brett on commentary?
You know what?
Home.
Maybe that's just the transformation I've made. I've been in a little ennui chrysalis, trying to become more positive, and I'm becoming a Yakuman butterfly. Jessa has already called the Hatsu. Is still three shot 10? Only has 4 shapes. Does have 2 Dora though. Now we're 2 shot 10.
Yes.
Nice shapes on the left for
Great
Jin.
pickup for Eric.
Man, things happening all over the table. Eric has had some hands that have just looked like messes. Like this hand isn't quite as bad, but a lot of disconnected tiles.
It's likely to end up on that
Oh, wait.
Shabo, and
I
you're
said
okay with
Eric.
that,
I
I
meant Viet.
suppose.
My bad. I just realized that I said the wrong player's name.
Oh, okay.
The 6-pin, 9-pin
what
Shabo.
Yeah, I think the 9-pin, like, I would take it. I'm fine with it, I think.
If I feel like I'm going to end up with the 9-pin Shabo, I want to discard the 8-pin earlier, but there's still several ways for you to end up with 6-0, 9-0 as your weight. So I don't think I would do that quite
Yeah,
yet.
not just yet. I think the efficiency is more important than the trap for Eric here.
Home.
Jessa now Tenpai for Hatsu Dora 2 can win on the 8-mon to make it Dora 3. And that 8-mon is pretty well stranded in Viet's hand currently.
Yeah, that's looking pretty, well, I don't think he'll drop it. I think his hand is just dead now.
Oh, look at that 7-mon draw. Beautiful.
Revived, at least temporarily.
Well, revived to not deal into the Mongon still could very easily deal into the 3-Han hand with that 2-pin. I mean, especially if you take this 1-pin Chi. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that is an uh-oh. The 7-so comes out? No.
Yeah, I mean, the 2-pin is the most efficient cut. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw the long
that's just
hesitation.
unfortunate.
But it wasn't an expensive hand, so it's not going to hurt him too much. 7-mon is Dora now. This is a decent hand for Viet. Can very easily get your 5th shape. There it is. You could, if you can finagle this into Pinfu, you'll be pretty happy. A little Kanchan heavy to start.
Yeah.
Jin also starting with a complete sequence in hand, but Jin has more Ryeonmen, so might have a little bit of a head start here.
That helps a little bit, but it's still not the kind of hand you want to see as dealer in 3rd place.
Yeah, is almost certainly gonna end up with a closed weight here, almost certainly. Yeah. Ooh, that helps. Do you discard 3-so, 5-so? Yes, indeed. That enables you to draw into
so that's
Itsu.
To Itsu.
It's going to be hard to draw that, though. Most of the 6-mon and 8-mon are gone. Oh my god, there it is. Look at that.
Incredible.
Dama.
But those 8...
Well, I mean, Eric's could very easily come out, especially since there was no reach.
That's true. That 8-mon does look pretty liable to come out of Eric's hand there.
And that Itsu Dora 1 would put Eric in a pretty bad last place.
Yeah. How long do you keep it?
Dropped 8, so I wonder what Eric is building over there. I mean, what can that hand become other than Chitoy?
I don't.
Now it could become a more normal hand, but again, that makes that 8-mon so much more likely to come out.
Thinking about it.
Drops
Not
the
yet.
3 instead. Oh, but there's the
just
sumo!
the sumo.
Grabs the last 8-mon.
Huge hand for Viet.
The dealer Mongon. So now Viet over 30k. Took quite a while to get there. Now has a very good hand. Has one of the Dora 7 so, has a pair of Chun. And get 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku.
Yeah, just 6, 7, 8. And you're good to go.
Seems like 6, 7, 8 has been the most popular sequence at this table. Jin across the way.
You take the 9, but
yeah, you can always slide down later. There's time for that to change. Jin has a
nice
pair of the
draw
Haku.
for Jessa.
What'd she get?
The 3-pin to fill in the Penchon.
Yeah, whenever you're able to fill in a Penchon early, it's a huge sigh of relief. I mean, that can be the difference between you being able to fight in a hand and you having no shot. The Manzu really not cooperating.
Definitely.
Though. Jin could actually get this towards a Chanta, towards a half outside hand. It's just gonna see where the hand goes.
Yeah, but the shapes are there, and the 7 cuts. Well, now you're thinking maybe some kind of Pinzu shape. Work on that a little bit more.
Doesn't take the 2-mon. We've seen a lot of Yakuhai also ending up further down in the wall. I mean, both Haku and Chun are yet to be seen here for Viet and Jin. Really, things not really progressing for Eric on the left. Now we have the East as well. Are those already cut? One has been, but not
one's cut.
Jin now Ishanten. Oh, there's the Haku for Jessa. Does Jin take it? Does not.
No.
Would not have been Tenpai with that call? Because there would not have been a pair. Unless you drop the 1 so, in which case you need to complete both the 2-4 and the 1-3.
Right.
There's another 6-mon.
Yeah.
All right, keeping it as a pair. There's a Chun, finally.
There's easy call.
And then cuts the East, since there's only one of those left on the wall. So it's looking like Chun Dora 1 right now for Viet.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine.
I would have considered
for Jessa.
Ooh. That makes that hand a lot nicer, although the shapes still leave something to be desired here. I mean, with the 1-pin discard, this hand is 3 away during the 3rd row.
This card feels a little strange.
Tenpai now for Viet, waiting on 5-pin, 8-pin. There's a 5-pin, but that can be used.
And the 8, so there's 1 5-pin left in the wall, and that's it.
Eric also taking a...
G.
Was that a step back in Shanten? Maybe not. We have Jin now, Tenpai, though. Achazuke, waiting on the final Haku.
This looking like it's just going to go to Ryukyoku here.
Indeed. That's going to be Viet and Jin collecting 1,500 each. This is really starting to hurt Eric. This is making your path out of last place a little bit harder. At the very least, you want to make sure that you keep Jin underneath 30k or drag Viet underneath 30k so that you don't end up taking the -20 Uma hit as opposed to -15 for being in last.
Yeah, this game, if it continues as is, may nix your dream of getting into, well, at least a guaranteed, well, it would make, I feel like it would set you back so far that you would be fighting for one of the playoff slots at best.
Right, it puts you in a much more desperate position. We see Viet here, 2 Shanten, calls the Hatsu, discards 6-so, so is now, could take 3 Palms and 2 Chis to get to Tenpai. The 7-so is Dora. He doesn't have any of those, but the only person who does is Jessa on the right. Jessa also has one of the South, one of the non. So could help
And
get to
that,
Tenpai.
yeah,
And now we
that
have
wasn't going to
2-so,
stay
5-so.
in the hand long, I think.
Yeah, and I think Jess is going to deal in either this turn or next turn.
Yep,
Yep, there
yep.
it is. Another very, very quick hand here. Back to our 2 Han ways. And with that, 7,000 point shift between Viet and Jessa. Jessa's first place now in very real danger. And God, this hand for Viet, 2 complete shapes right off the bat. You don't have 5 blocks, but you can get there. Adora Haku to boot.
Yeah, this feels like this is a pretty strong high pie. I mean, now you're stuck with this Penchant as a block, but you're still not feeling too bad about it.
What do you think about the 1-so cut as opposed to, say, the 1 Mon cut?
Unsure. It feels like a very early head fix. And that arguably just backfired here, depending on your viewpoint.
Does already have 5 blocks, though, so maybe not. We'll see how this hand develops. We actually have a pretty good hand across the way for Jin as well. That's Ishanten.
Probably going to refix the head here with the 3-so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you draw into that 4, 5, 6, 7 Nobetan, you can drop the 8, 9 pin and be looking a lot better. Right. Yep, there it is.
And there it is.
That's 5 pairs for Jessa on the right, Ishanten for Chitoi. Once again, though, a hand that could instead shift into Chinitsu. Jin still Ishanten. Perfect Ishanten, as a matter of fact. Oh, there's the 7.
Funny backfire on the 7 pin there. The wall having a sense of humor as normal.
I'm glad the wall does, because I often don't when it pulls things like that.
Right.
Eric's still dreaming about a 4, 5, 6 Sanshoku on the left. Is Ishanten. Could get Pinfu,
That would be
Sanshoku,
nice.
Tanya out. Man, God, if you weren't in last place, that 6 pin would have been a nice little chi, but you really need that hand to be close that you can chase a Hanuman. That would pretty drastically change your fate.
He doesn't really have a lot of choice other than to chase a hand like, you know, Tanya Pinfu Sanshoku. Something like that here.
I mean, it's been set up for it for a while, just can't pull in the tiles he needs. Just Sumo Giri after Sumo Giri the whole second row.
Yeah. It's likely 8 so wait still
1.
well.
There we go. That was a
Okay,
good draw
so
for Eric.
absolutely, yeah.
Ricci,
Yeah, that's going to be
Tanyao, Pinfu,
Pinfu.
possible Sanshoku. So if you can sumo the 6 pin, then you are in as good of a position as you could possibly hope. Although you'd accept
Right.
it.
リーチ
Oh, here's a chase. The instant chase. Like the moment that came into hand, just wham, slam the button from Jessa. Tosses in the 7 so, which feels like a pretty dangerous tile. The 4 mon at least would have been Nakasuji. But that is Chitoi. Ricci Chitoi for Jessa. 6 pin comes into Jin's hand. That is safe against
Oh.
Jessa. But the person you'd really not want to deal into is Eric. Because deal into
Yeah, that
and avoid.
it's just not clear enough. Yeah.
All right, and that's gonna be nothing going for either of the Richis there. That 1500 helps out Jessa immensely since Viet lost to 1800. Although being dealer, Mangan Sumo still pretty easily gets Viet past her.
Yeah, so with 3200 in the pot, Viet just needs a Mangan of any sort.
Oh right, I completely neglected the 3200 in the middle. That is a very good point. How does that 3200 help Eric? That would get up to what, 14-2? So
Gee.
needs more than a Mangan Sumo to get into third.
Yeah.
We do have a very early chi from Jessa going Atazuke here. And this
Really
hand's kind of a
wants-
mess.
Yeah, really doesn't want somebody else to get that value in the middle.
Has discarded a whole shape in the Mon. So it's possible she's thinking, well, God, not thinking Honitsu. But now that you have the Haku and the Chun, like there's no way you end up Atazuke here. So at least
Right.
you're guaranteed some sort of Yaku. Jin on the right also has 2 pairs of honors, but that is a pretty clear Honitsu in the So. The double south, the west not really worth anything. Oop, there's a Hatsu.
Okay. Viet now Ishanten.
Is it enough of an Ishanten though?
Pinfu Dora 1. It could be with you need Ura or Sumo.
Jessa
Well, actually
holds
Sumo
on.
would maybe not do it.
Jessa holds on to the south, and then Jin ends up picking up the third one anyway. Oh God,
Oh,
a
that's a
7
nasty
so.
looking hand over there.
What a draw! This is now Ishanten. Oh my goodness! Jin just
Punk.
keeps drawing
That's-
nonsense.
That's wild.
Not Tempai though with that specific draw. But boy
Yeet.
howdy, double South Honitsu, and now we have the Ricci from Viet, Ricci Pinfu Dora 1. Got it, but this is Tempai for Jessa, discards the live South, and there's the Chun! It's live
Oh,
though.
no.
Does Jin dare throw it? She does!
Oh.
So Jessa widening her
Wow.
lead once again, 5,800 plus the 42 that ended up in the middle. And all of a
Whoa.
sudden, it goes from being just a Mangan for Viet to catch up to now to being 21,000 underneath.
That's you. Yeah, what do you need? You need a Hanemon direct, or no? You could. What kind of sumo could
Baimon
would do it?
Sumo.
Would that take a
Baimon
Baimon?
Sumo or
Yeah.
Hanuman Direct, yeah.
Yeah,
Or
that's,
Sun Baimon
You
off
take
anyone.
your second.
Yeah. Well, you don't, because you definitely don't want to accidentally end up to, let's say, a 5,800 hand and end up below, or a 3,900
I think
point
you
hand,
just-
for that matter.
You
with
just call south and get your non-Dora 1 and end the game.
Yeah, and it's not that the push was bad. It was just very sad.
Yeah, no.
But as Korak said, that hand gets you above 30k. You really need a positive score to start climbing back up in the standings. Like the push makes a lot of sense there. But moving into this hand, I mean,
decline. Oh,
what did Jin decline?
so Jen declined to call the tune. Does not tune double non is not good enough.
I wonder a Hanuman Sumo for Jin would be enough to get above 30k. So perhaps Jin is still dreaming about that. Could end up with what's the most valuable hand Jin could have here? Chun, double non, Chanta. And if you're able to Riichi that, there's your Hanuman.
I think
You could also end up Honitsu with if you're able to get another 6-pin, that would help, but you'd be throwing away your entire 2
yeah,
3
but
4
you're
shape.
you're mid row 2 when you still have a full shape and another suit.
リーチ
There's the Riichi from
And
Jessa.
now you have now you have dealer Riichi pressure.
Oh, but this is Tenpai.
So
Doesn't take the Tenpai. Jin discards the 1-pin. The Tenpai for Jessa is 3-mon 8-pin. That is Riichidora 1. And we see that there are no 8-pin left in the wall, and both 3-mon still left in the wall. Has discarded 3-pin now, Jin has. But part of the issue here is that Viet has the other 2 non. The 2 Souths are in Viet's
both of
hand.
these
They're
hands.
Mochi Mochi. Oh, but there's the,
the
Sumo
Mochi
for
Mochi
Jessa.
basically doomed both hands. Yeah, wow.
Riichi,
Jessa
Sumo, Dora, no Ura.
having a great day at this. Well, at least a great game. One great game.
Yeah, got above 60k. And now, if you can drop Viet below 30,000, you're making this win bigger and bigger. Has a pair of the Haku that is Mochi Mochi with Jin right off the bat. We have a pair of South in Eric's hand. There's 6 Honba in the middle, so that's an extra 1,800 points. Yeah, Eric doesn't call the South. It's not enough. South Dora 1 isn't gonna cut it for him. 2 Dora though makes things a little different there.
It still feels bad to have to target a player with your like potential Mongon hand to escape.
Yeah,
Home.
a Mongon, you don't have to target anybody. But with the
Or-
hand as it is currently.
Yeah, if you can make a Mongon, yeah, you can hit anybody. But if you can't make the Mongon,
Well, here's your Mongon. South, Sanshoku, Dora 2, 5, 6, 7.
interesting. Yeah, that would.
And then with the 1,800 in the middle, I mean, because when you sumo, that 1,800 really turns into the plus 1,800 from you, but you're taking 600 of that from Jin. So adding the 2,400 makes the 3-Han sumo enough as well, I believe. Nathaniel also thinks so in the background, and I trust him a lot more than I trust me.
Oh yeah, with this separation, yeah, it would be enough. Yeah.
Ooh, discards the 7-mon though, so you're not going to get the 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku anymore. Although I guess now you could end up with Toy Toy, or even just try to increase your Fu. Viet's hand not really going places so far. A little bit of sideways movement, but nothing forward.
Yeah, it has a pair problem.
Ooh, a 3-pin. Yeah, Eric just tosses that right back. There's still one 4-pin left in the wall, which would be a great benefit to whoever's able to get it. Jin really would like to get the 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku here. Keeps the 5-mon, but discards 5-pin. Again, Hanuman Sumo is still enough for Jin to get above 30k.
ポン
A Pwn from Jessa, not Tenpai though. It's actually a pretty bad Ishan 10.
Yeah, it's not great.
I maybe would have discarded the Forsto there. There's nothing that I draw next to the Forsto that gives me any excitement. I kind of like the 7-so floater better. Okay, there's Tenpai for Eric. South Dora 2 waiting 5-so, 8-so. Sumo is fine. Direct hit off of Jin is fine. Oh, but there's another Dora!
Oh,
I mean, you can't drop Dora, right? Yeah, drop 6-so, waiting on 7-so. And you know what? 7-so
interesting.
does not look horrible. Oh, and then look at Jessa! Now waiting East Haku. Draws the East of all things. What on earth?
So waiting basically East one left.
Right, that's the only tile. Because Jin has the 2 Haku, and it's very hard to imagine her dropping that. There's one. There are no 7-so left in the wall. Viet, I imagine, is just gonna fold out. Is just gonna play safety
folding,
here.
yeah.
I mean, if I'm Jin though, I discard out of Tenpai on this next turn. Right here, I'm no longer Tenpai. I'm out. Playing an East and exiting the building. All right, we've got Tenpai for Jin on the right. Atazuke waiting on the Haku. We now have 6-pin, 9-pin wait for Eric.
And the
But-
8?
but
Yeah, okay.
Jessa, hungry Jessa is. Viet dropped below 30k by Tenpai payments.
Oh, jeez.
And Jessa with another good high pie. Gets the tune. A lot of Kanchans here, but these are easily improvable shapes. And with that tune in hand, and the only other player at the table with a Yakuhai is Jin, who again, Jin has been playing very greedy here. Jin has been pushing for that Hanuman she needs to try and get above 30k, or to try and get a Mongon to direct hit Viet. So is probably not very likely to take the Hatsu Pon if it does come out. At least not from what we've seen so
No,
far.
I would not expect it. Good draw for Viet there. The third 9-so. Eric
Unfortunately,
picking
can't
up
con.
another Dora.
All right, Viet is
That's-
exactly where he wants to be right now, though. Ishan 10,
That's already Ishan, yeah.
a very, very good
Pretty
Ishan
de-
10.
Yeah, a good one too, yeah.
God, you're Tenpai on so many tiles there. 1 through 5 Mon,
Yep.
3 through 8 pin.
That doesn't help you though. Not
Nah.
really.
Yeah, it just tosses it right back. Viet definitely wants to be very careful and thinking about efficiency here, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's not as
Gee.
good as the 3-mon floater there.
Jessa, Ishan 10.
Jessa now Ishan 10.
Got the tune. Jin actually drew the final Hatsu. Oh, God, was Tenpai. I didn't even notice. God, does she even take the 3-pin here? God, it's Hatsu Nomi. Like,
Apparently no.
I mean, you've seen
Yeah.
Jessa already make the play. Like, if Jessa didn't discard out of Tenpai last hand, you assume she's never going to. So even if your hand doesn't end up at the Hanuman you want, or the Mongon that you need to hit Viet with, I mean, you can just
リーチ
keep your tempi. Oh, there's a Ricci though. 369 pin.
And Eric picks up a third Dora. Oh, that's an yeah. That hand is probably over now.
Yeah, and I mean, Jessa can't really play much defense here. I mean, actually, the Monzu for the most part look okay. I mean, the 7-mon doesn't look good. 8-mon is it's the 3-mon that's Suji. Listen, I'm high. It's fine. I'm not actually high. That was a joke. But now we could get a 5-so weight. Jessa could get Tempai here and does.
ロン
Oh, oh my god.
That's twice this has happened to Jin. Jin just getting absolutely cursed here by Jessa's little open hands. And just like that. And now Jessa has this incredible Mon shapes. Eric now could win a dinky Haku hand. And because there's 2,400 in the middle, that would be more than enough to get into third place. Just absolutely nothing going right for Jin here. Although this hand,
No.
I mean, it has 3 Dora. Like, it could be something. It's just you have those 4 just absolutely monstrous.
It could be something. It's just going to take a while to get there.
Very interested to see how she plays it now that she has all this value on the table. If you hit Viet, that'd be what, 20,800 direct? Which is enough to trade places. Nobody discarding the Haku. It can't be found for Eric to try and speed up that hand. Jessa, considering calling here, doesn't.
Chi
Does take that Chi, though. I mean, there's a couple different ways that you can make this work. You don't necessarily have to discard the 6-7 so. I mean, you can still get... If you take this pawn, though,
You
you
could
do.
still get.
It's
Yeah, if Itsu is still a possibility at the moment. That's probably going to be a pawn, though. No? Okay.
Doesn't take it.
I thought maybe.
I mean, that
maybe
does
there was just
kinda
a
mess up
hard
your
commit.
shapes. It doesn't change your Shantae, I think. There are no 7-mon out. The big problem with Itsu, though, is your head. Like, you
Right.
actually have, if you had taken, say, like Michael said, if you take pawn on the 4-mon, you actually do have 5 Chinitsu blocks counting that way. Looking at the 5-mon and 9-mon as pairs that you intend on pawning. But if you chi 7, 8, 9-mon, you don't have a... There's no pair.
I think that's
Yeet.
Tempai for Viet.
It is
Yeah.
a fun tip
On
buy.
the.
Could have called
that's-
Khan first.
That's
Yeah.
going to deal right in.
There's the Apatu deal. Viet gonna get above 30k. Jessa going to lose 7,600 there. Or I guess no, is gonna lose 10,000. Is gonna lose 10 points net. What
yeah,
with
10,
Uma?
10 points.
Viet didn't want to risk the con though. That would have made things much easier for Jin, who was chasing him, even though Jin already had all the doors she needed. But that is a absolutely massive win for Jessa. Transformative. A 51.1 there is going to get her just barely out of the playoff spot. Her placement isn't gonna change. But I mean, being at 41 is drastically different from being at 92.8. Jin taking the real unfortunate hit there. I mean, this basically puts Jin has to get 2 massive firsts. That's Jin's only way out at this point is 2 big first place Eric with the last, also a big hit, although still within range. Like a first and a second would still be enough for Eric, or even like a not so bad third, according. Well, God, but the problem is Quinn, Alon, and Galhan have all already played all their games.
Right.
So really, you're locked into having to get 50 points. So everybody with very specific win cons here. Viet can't come in last. If you take a big last like Eric just took, you're going to be in danger of falling into the playoffs. Eric needs a couple, like a first and a second or two firsts to get into the playoffs. Jessa, now finally in a position to, can pretty easily get into the playoffs for between B3 and C1, or, you know, with a first and a second like Eric needs, could even guarantee herself a spot in B3. And then Jin needs two big firsts. So, I mean, usually at this point, like when you're in your final two Hanchan, there's only one or two people at the table who really have something to play for, and other people have things set. But since there's such a wide array of possibilities for B3, what with there being promotion, playoffs,
Right.
guaranteed staying, playoffs, and demotion, it just makes these tables so much more exciting. And it is important to remember that the playoff slots likely will end up shifting down one. Edwin will keep us posted in announcements and general in the Discord. So if you're a part of the if you are part of the ARML and you're trying to keep track of how things are moving around, be sure to pay attention into the Discord, because that's where most announcements will be made regarding those things. It looks like this table is going to start in 2 minutes. I very much need a drink. So much excitement here. I can't do it on a dry throat. So I think we take a quick 2-minute break and we'll come back in at the top of the hunt.
That sounds good to me. Yeah.
And here we are. This time it is Jin as our first dealer, and we're going to have an exciting hand right off the bat. Directly in front of us, Jin the dealer. 9-mon is the Dora, which isn't directly helpful for Jin's hand, but Jin is going for Chitoy currently, or could end up going for Chitoy, has 5 pairs, is Ishanten. So the Dora could very easily be accepted into such a hand, although she is going to hedge a normal hand, has a couple of good shapes for it. Eric on the left has 3 Hatsu closed. So that also could become a fast hand to chase with. Jessa, if she's able to draw a 6-so or 7-so, could entertain the idea of a 6-7-8 Sanshoku. So a lot of action all around here. And actually, it looks like Viet is Ishanten over there. Really wants to draw the 3-mon to end up with a good weight, get some Pinfu action.
Yeah, I'm wondering about this. Like, it's still pretty early, so you don't have to toss the door just yet, but it does feel like it's increasingly unlikely to fit into the hand.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see. Eric has been holding on to that lone tune for a little bit now. I'm really interested to see what Jin does when that does eventually come out. Because
I
Jin did.
think,
There it is.
yeah, I think with flat scores, you just call it.
Yeah, especially after you draw the Anko of 9-pin, Toy Toy really looks like a good option. Although I doubt that she would turn down a 5-so or 8-so. We do have Tempai across the way for a Viet. Dama waiting on 3-mon. That is Ipeco only. And on the left, we have 5-mon, 8-mon Dama from Eric. Are there any tiles left in the wall for Eric? There's only one. One
Viet,
5.
Viet upgrades to Ipeco Tanyao.
Still Dama, though.
And we get a Ricci on the Nobetan 6-mon, 9-mon, so hoping to pick up an additional Dora for Hatsu Dora 2.
Oh, he gets it from
And
Jessa.
Gets it.
Yeah, it's going to be a Mongon. No Ura. But for once, this table's starting off with the big hand. So right off the bat, Eric with a nice little lead. Now, if Jessa deals into Eric on this hand, we'll really be starting to see a trend for how these Hanchan begin.
Yeah, I suppose so. Pretty good high pie for Jessa here.
Yeah, would really like. Oh, this. Well, I was just gonna say, would really like to draw something around the 5-pin. Yeah, could a distant dream of 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku, but more likely just gonna hope for Pinfu here. Hatsu is Dora. Jin has one of those on the left. No one else has any. What an awkward hand for Viet. What would you go for if you had Viet's hand on the right there?
I mean, like, it's telling you to go for Junchan, so I think you just like see what it does. The early 5-mon 6-so cuts suggest Junchan.
In tournament play, are you allowed to hold the tiles up to your ear or lean your head down next to the wall to try and listen to what the tiles
hear what they're saying?
Yeah, to try and pick up on it.
I don't know. You'll have to. That may vary from tournament to tournament. So
yeah, we'll have to check the rules. There's a couple of tournaments coming up in April. If for those who are interested in the goings on of the Ricci scene. I haven't checked the rules for that though. Getting closer, Eric is across the way. I don't know why I keep using objective syntax. It's just like coming out by mistake.
The problem for Viet here is that he needs 2 7-so and there's one left in the wall. So this hand may not be destined to happen.
I mean, the easiest way to fix that, though, is you just draw a 9-so and start dropping 8-so.
It could happen, yeah.
3-pin's not what you want.
Work.
Eric is Ishanten.
Chi.
Oop, there's the Chi.
Yeah, considering that call, that's going to leave you Atazuke.
Well, a pretty good Atazuke, though, seeing as how 3 9-mon are already gone.
That's true. Another Dora for Jen.
And finally paired it up.
Yeah, that hand is looking like it could actually complete there.
Does Jessa dare flirt with Burton here? Does. Viet not wanting to discard 4-pin.
Ricci.
No.
There's the God draws a third Dora! Jin with
Wow.
the
Okay,
concealed
so
Hatsu. 4-mon, 7-mon is the weight. And that
yeah,
7
that's
mon is
extremely dangerous.
like,
There are a few things that should come out first, I think.
and really that would not be, I guess, let's see, four Han in hand. So the Ricci on its own doesn't
Gee.
add anything, but if you get even one Ura, or if you sumo, that does bring you to Hanuman. And with a good weight like this, sumo is not unlikely. Can Jessa continue to avoid dealing in?
For now.
All right, the 7-mon's been paired up for Viet, and there's another 4-mon.
Each.
So only one 4-mon left in the wall. And there's the chase, Eric waiting on 6-so, 9-so, which is
Yeah.
also a pretty dead
So
weight.
everybody sensing
Oh.
the danger here,
What is
and
this?
Jen losing this hand to
Jin
the
just,
chase.
Jin just keeps getting these curses. Like, someone has fashioned a small Mahjong voodoo doll and is just making Jin deal in after Tenpai on every single hand to someone who reached Tenpai after her.
Yeah, Jen playing a bit of star-crossed mahjong today, unfortunately.
Well, on this hand, Viet, let's see.
You hope the 1, 2, 3 comes together.
I mean, that's really what you need. I mean, 2 Pinchon is just, well, but when you have the Haku and the Chun,
You could make it Chanta Sanshoku Yakuhai.
that would certainly give you value. Though I don't know as dealer whether, well, we'll see. Doesn't take the 4-pin.
Oh,
but now you have the
it's
4-mon.
it's unfortunate that you finished that shape first there.
I mean, you're just gonna try and take the repeat though. Like Viet
Yeah,
is the
I think
person.
that's right.
Viet's basically the only person at the table who's like, I'm just gonna take my quick little wins. Like a +5, -5 are equally great for Viet right now. Jessa's hand on the left, like no complete shapes yet,
Chi.
but has the look of
Yep, that's
like
a chi.
also could be the could also end up with some sort of weird Chanta Sanshoku business.
Home.
And there's a pawn.
Easy Pone and Tenpai. The only 4 of those tiles are already out.
リーチ
And then a 1-pin in Jin's hand. And then the chase. Waiting on 2-so, 5-so. So could win on Dora. Ricci Penfu, possible Dora.
Determined, yep.
スモ
And there's the sumo, the Apatsumo on Dora. Ricci Apatsu Sumo Penfu, Dora 1.
Oh,
Jin gets the Hanuman, finally a good break. And that's going to be enough to just barely put her in second. Just 200 out. But that's what Jin needed. Jin now has a little bit of life breathed back into her game. We'll see if she's able to keep that momentum up as things go forward. Eric, though, as dealer, with a pretty fantastic high pie.
yeah. This is definitely what you want to see.
I mean, 6-pin Dora. Pretty
No
likely
one
to end up with
else's hand
Tenfu.
really. Viet's hand looks like the second fastest if he calls, but very likely to end up waiting Kanchan on the Dora there.
Oh, wow. What a draw. We're now, I mean, you're Ishan 10 for...
Ishan
well,
10 for Sanmentan.
right. For some sort of time. And there you go. There's your 258 weight.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's Tanyao.
Dama.
Tanyao Dora 1.
Dama for Tanya Dora 1. Yep.
Man, this is one of those weights that I'm like, I am 100% confident I am going to sumo this. Ricci. Like,
Yeah,
I mean-
I'm wondering how many turns it'll take for Eric to decide to reach this weight.
I wonder if he'll Ricci it now, as a matter of fact, with that call on the left.
I'm going to guess in the next 2 or 3 turns.
Yet thinking with this 8-mon draw. That went on long enough that I was really starting to wonder if we had frozen. And there's a pawn, and there's Tenpai for Viet waiting on 6-pin. This can actually turn into
Sumo.
toy. Oh, but sumos!
Oh, that's I mean, he did end up on that Kanchan, but when it works, it works.
Yeah, it would have been. I would have been really interested to see if Viet still pushes that. If the dealer Ricci comes out.
Yeah, I suspect no.
But we do see that brings Eric into second with the Oyakabari paying more as dealer there. And wow, we have another fantastic dealer high pie.
Yeah, it's an awkward Dora acceptance, but otherwise very nice looking high pie here.
I mean, just imagine draw the 7-mon, and we have another 3-sided weight that involves the pair, or just draw an 8-mon, and now you have a pair already.
Yeah, this Ishan 10 is really great.
Yeah,
Because
actually,
you've got a 5 floater and a Yonrenke shape in the Manzu, so
it can get 3,
just
4,
the
5,
3, 4,
Sancho,
5,
dude.
6.
Although not horrible hands around the table, Jess's hand leaves quite a bit to be desired. But like on the left, Eric has 2 Dora.
リーチ
And
There's
that
the Ricci.
is a for 258.
Ricci Pinfu. No Dora there. And this
Yeah,
way,
Ricci.
pretty nice in the wall. 3 2-mon, 2 5-mon, and 2 8-mon. Oh, and Tanyao, which I think you said.
Yeah, so likely to get a 420 hand here.
Do we condone those sort of comments on the ARML Twitch chat? I feel like I've been lightly reprimanded in the past for my off-color jokes, and here you are talking about 420. Nathaniel laughed. I just want to make that clear for everyone. Michael didn't, but Nathaniel did. Y'all can't hear it. You just have to trust me on it. Actually, I'm going to start pulling that. Even the broadcast director will always be the person who I say laughed at the jokes. Still not getting this nice 3-sided weight, and they're not really being pulled much into people's hands. There's an 8-mon, but still a lot of these tiles left in the wall for Jin.
Yeah, it's still pretty live in the wall. I stand by my prediction.
Yeah, the 420 sumo does feel pretty likely. And with how few Manzu we see, I could very easily see an Ura to bring this up to a Mangan. You just have to draw the tile first. There's still 1 5-mon in there somewhere, 2 2-mon.
Well, maybe
There's the last
maybe
8-mon.
Jen's not getting the memo. It's just sumo.
Well, that's what she did last time, and it worked. Viet really thinking about what to discard here. One chance 9 pin.
Three six looks pretty bad.
Yeah,
So-
Dora Suji
Understandably.
does
Oh,
well,
goes
the
for it
six was
anyway.
Gebutsu. I mean, the
The
6
six
has
is already
passed
passed.
already.
Yeah.
There's another Tumon. Doesn't deal it though. Wow.
No, I was
and
wrong.
it's just not gonna come for Jin.
Nope. This did not happen.
But you know
and
what?
only worth 3,000.
3,000 is not nothing. That's just win your Riichi
That's
stick
true.
back. And here we have 2 Dora. This is another nice high pie. The pin, no shapes in pin, but with the 3/6, you cover a lot of ground acceptance wise. Viet with an amazing first draw with the 7 pin there, filled in a Pidgeon. Could get an Ipeco, could stretch the pin shape into an Itsu, could end up with a Honitsu.
Looks like he's not that confident in the Honitsu.
There's an 8
That's
for
a
Jin.
nice draw for Jen.
Still only 4 blocks. And another Dora. Oh, that's incredible. Right in the center of that shape.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I guess that solves your. That's a full run and then an Ariane Men.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 3/6/9 weight, I believe. But now with the 8 things look a little bit different. I mean, now you got to be thinking about calling.
I think so, yeah.
Yep, drops the tune. Viet is Ishanten across the way.
And yeah, you have to cut the south for efficiency there.
Jess is Ishanten as well. Could actually still end up with 5/6/7 Sanshoku. But that would be a sideways movement. Is not Ishanten for that. Interesting to see what Viet does with
this
one pin.
I think weighing Itsu, but it would be him. Well, it's apparently worth the attempt.
Ishanten now for Jin.
That's a scary looking hand.
It's taken a long time to keep developing though, and there's the 7 pin. An incredibly sad day when you draw that 7 pin.
Yeah, that backfire hurts a bit.
Eric has actually shifted to the point where he could end up with 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku. Jess's hand continues going nowhere. Has been in this same position for so long.
G.
Yep, and there's a pro level efficiency read. I would not have been able to choose the 4-so that quickly.
G.
Yeah, ultimately, I don't think it helps you.
Tenpai for Viet. It is K10.
Come.
On! Jessa cons the 5-mon. 9-mon, the new Dora. And Jin now looking on like, what have I done to anger the Mahjong gods? Why is this happening?
Right. Yeah. Jessa sensing some danger in the Sozu there.
Okay, this is going to be Tenpai for Jin.
Jen taking Tenpai.
Which is
3/6. Yeah, that's a 3/6/9 so and 8. Oh,
6,
oh
9,
yeah,
7,
not the
8
3.
pin.
Okay, so that is
Since the 3-so got drawn.
That's an Intotsu. Okay, right.
Yeah. It just looks funky. Yeah, Viet dodges the deal in there. Didn't drop an 8-pin. And that's another 3,000 for Jin. And now, God, this is a good high pie. Jin can use this. You got East, you've got Hatsu, you've got 2 Yakuhai. You've got good shapes besides. I mean, you could even shift this sideways into a Chanta. Lots of possibilities here. A couple of Chun across the way for Viet. So he might be racing her. And also has a very Chanta-looking hand. And there's the Hatsu Pon. So Ishanten now for Jin. Oh, another 1. That's a great draw for Viet. And the Chun is actually Dora, which I didn't notice at first. So Viet doesn't even need any sort of Chanta shenanigans.
No. It's just whether somebody will drop it if they draw it.
Yeah, in a lot of cases, it does seem like the Chun ends up being your pair here, or you end up on
That's an
Shampoo.
easy pwn and 10 pi for Jen.
Waiting on the 7-pin, which is bound to come out of Eric's hand. Perhaps now.
Perhaps now.
But does it? Oh, it's
Sumo! Sumo!
Eric dodges the deal in. Jin. But Jin just gets it, so we're on South 1 repeat 3 now. East is Dora. We see none of those in any hands. Jin finally with a not great high pie. 4 pairs. So, 2 away from Chitoy. But has really been building hands away from Chitoy so far. So I imagine this will end up being a normal hand if any good draws are made. We do have a very early Atazuke call from Jessa, which we've come to expect. She is Ishanten.
Just wanting to stop the bleeding, presumably.
Jessa really cannot afford a last here. Like, you're okay with a third. You can make up a small amount of ground, but a last puts you in such a bad position going into the final Hanchan.
It does, yeah.
Is Tenpai waiting on 5-8? 4 of those left in the wall still.
Yeah, you can't bank on being able to replicate game 2 here.
Eric would really like to pull in an 8-pin. Get set up for Pinfu Sanshoku on the 7-8-9s. Doesn't call, does not open for the Sanshoku. Oh, and there's the 8-pin.
And Jesse grabs 1,900 points and moves the game along, though is going to have to make the most of this second dealer round, of course. Draws next to Dora.
That's nice. It can incorporate into the hand easily. Although we have a pair of Chun on the right for Viet, and that 8-so draw is incredible. So could turn that into a fast hand. There's the pawn. But really, I guess Eric has, well, that hand isn't quite as good as it looked on first glance. There's a lot of Monzu clumped together there, but they're not good shapes. So it really feels like Viet has an advantage here.
Technically, Eric is Ishanten now, I believe. It's just a weird Ishanten.
Yeah, draw the 3-mon, end up, say, 6-mon, 9-mon, Chanpon, or draw either of those into an Anko and wait on 3-mon.
Yeah, right.
We do have the
Viet now
5-mon.
Tempai on 5-mon. It's a little tense.
Yeah, I mean, so much is going on here. Well, all right, there's another 5-mon for Jessa. Keeps it. Is discarding the north. Can get Tanyao this way. So might avoid a deal in.
It does appear to be the angle here.
Eric discarding the 6-pin.
1
It's a step
Oh,
back in Shanten.
Don't.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that. Unfortunately, that call kind of dooms you there.
Yeah, I mean, the tiles aren't coming
Not
into
to say it
hand,
was
so it
the
makes
wrong
sense.
call, but
Right. I mean,
Yeah,
you really
it's
have
not
to
the
get a
wrong
dealer
call, but-
repeat, and you were still 2 away. So you make going for the Tanyao there really helped. It was just unfortunate that you were able to chi before you were able to pull in another 5-mon. Viet dealer now, and there's just a lot of Kanchan shapes in this hand. It could become a Honitsu, but we haven't seen any of these players force Honitsu, really. Like, we've seen almost none. We've
No,
seen a
we
couple
don't.
of Chinitsu plays, but no Honitsu.
There are quite a few players in the league who do like play that way, but not at this table. Not that I can see. Well, these drawing into that Anko does kind of help.
Right, and then you take
Now
the 9-pin pawn.
Honitsu is viable.
Yeah, and this is the Dora suit as well, which makes it all the better. We do see a pair of Souths. That's not a pair of Souths. That's a South and a Hatsu. I don't know what made me think those were the same tile. But I guess Jin can't open across the way.
No.
We do have Ishanten for Eric on the right. That's Tempai. Be waiting on 2-pin, 5-pin. Which is always interesting when you get to Oh, Jessa, no hesitation on the Ricci there. 6-mon east. Oh, do you discard 5-pin here? So discard, do you chase? Discard 5-pin, wait, 4, 6, 7? No, just folds.
リーチ
Discards the totally safe 9, so. Jin, though, not afraid to chase here, waiting 1-pin, 4-pin. 1-pin is
No.
Suji to Jessa.
Oh,
So Viet deals in. That's going to be Ricci, Apatsu,
that's
Pinfu,
painful.
and an
That's
Ura.
really painful.
Oh, that hurts Viet a lot.
It does. That's super painful.
So now we're going to have a little duel. We're going to have a little Wild West standoff here between Viet and Jessa, neither of whom are dealer. Jessa absolutely must try and gain third. Viet is going to really desperately try and not get last.
Right.
So it's a bitter fight for third here, although dealer might angle for a repeat. Eric has a pair of Haku. Not a lot of good shapes besides that, but this hand being callable will give it some amount of speed. It's just not quite as efficient as anybody else's hand at the table.
Viet considering 2-3-4 Sanshoku here does not.
I mean, that also could have been Eric considering taking the pawn.
That's true.
Either
It could-
one of them.
I guess it really could be either.
Viet does have incentive to try and make this fast, but the Sanshoku would be a little sketchy this early. I mean, he's 2 Shanten as it is.
Yeah, you're probably right. That was probably Eric instead.
Jess's Ishanten changing a little bit could end up with an Ipeco now. Just waiting to see. All right, there's Tempai. Oh no, that's not Tempai.
Yeah.
Wait, did something happen?
Could be.
Was it never Ishanten?
No, I believe that is
I mean, she's
Wait,
definitely Ishanten
hold on.
now.
Oh no, we're missing. It's not a 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. That 7 is disconnected.
Oh, I definitely thought that was a 6-pin. It's Ishanten
Yeah,
now.
so
though.
did I. Yes.
Eric, meanwhile, has opened Atazuke here. Although, I mean, this could still sort of become Tanyao. You would just need to draw another block. If you draw, say, a 5-mon. Oh, but that Haku isn't going to help Viet. Is really
how
thinking
close
about
he
it.
thinks Eric is to Tenpai here.
Well, and with that draw, Eric's Ishanten. Both Viet and Jin holding on to these Haku.
I think they can both tell that something is up, that this Eric's hand is not,
Hellweight Ricci from Jessa. Ricci Dora 1. Waiting on the 8-pin. Jin really close here. Ishanten for an Itsu. But is just playing safe. There's an 8-pin, but that gets Eric to Tenpai.
Yeah, that.
Oh wait, that was a Hellweight Furiton from Jessa. It didn't even occur to me that one of the 8-pin was in her own discard pile.
Oh yeah, I just didn't. I thought it was so unlikely that somebody would do that, and I didn't. I mean,
like, I
to
counted
be fair,
them all.
it could be deliberate, or it could have just been that the 8 was discarded so early that it's easy to forget when you see the button pop up. I've done it.
Oh yeah. Well, and it was interesting for Eric too there. Eric deciding to maintain Tenpai. I mean, Eric has it is not unthinkable for Eric to catch Jin here. And Eric would really like a first. I mean, really needs a first to cover some ground. If the playoff spots end up moving down 1, like if 5th and 6th end up being the playoffs instead of 4th and 5th, then a second is perfectly fine for Eric. But you really want to climb as high as you can, put yourself in as safe of a position as possible. And we see him doing that here, taking a Tanyao. We do see another Honitsu on the left for Viet, just getting all of the mon draws. A very wide Ishanten now for Eric. A third Haku for Jessa.
Oh, that's That's a pretty incredible draw.
I mean, Jessa is just, you don't need much at all. Just the Haku would be enough to get Jessa out of last year. But this is going to be a
Right.
1-mon East Shanton for Viet.
That's
相撲
a pretty
Oh, but Eric Sumo's first. To get to Tenpai, Viet had to feed Eric, and that was just enough for Eric to be able to sumo.
right.
So beats him there ever so slightly. And we're in South 4 repeat 2. And this is another great high pie for Eric. If you can just get a shape in Manzu, you'll feel pretty good. Though Jessa also with a fairly good hand. Again, the Manzu's the issue over there. But the Sozu look beautiful. I wonder, would you have discarded the 5-mon from Jessa's hand there?
I think the 3-pin goes first.
Yeah, I think I would have liked the 3-pin as well. Then you can go for a 5, 6, 7 Sanshoku. I mean, that value isn't going to end up being enough to get you over 30k, but these being scores that add up over the course of time, it's not like the extra points would hurt you. And it's still fairly efficient being able to draw anything next to that 5-mon. An interesting Mon shape for Viet here. Viet just has Ryeonmin all over the place. Ends up dropping 7-pin, 8-pin.
Home.
Which is interesting because it is going to feed Eric once again. Eric now Ishanten. Calling for the Tanyao. Oh, and there's the 6-mon.
What? Yeah, that's an incredibly wide. Well, I don't know about incredible, but that's quite a wide
Reach.
Ishanten for Viet. But
Now we
Jessa hits
have-
Tenpai, and we have Ricci on
147.
147.
Now all the 4s are out. There's only 1 7 left, and there's 2 1-so left in the wall. And I do think this is Pinfu, except on... No matter what Jessa wins on, it will be Pinfu.
Yeah.
つも
And
There
there
it
it is.
And that's actually going to be Itsu as well. So Ricci Sumo, Pinfu, Itsu, no
Oh.
Ura. That is going to be enough to put Jessa into third, which is exactly what she needed. And Viet dropping into last here is going to hurt him as well. So Jin,
Yeah.
everybody except for Viet got what they needed here. Jin with the plus 36. She needs 2 firsts. Really wanted this one to be bigger, but since she got a first this time, now she knows more exactly what she's going to need next time. Eric with the plus 8.9. That is going to move him up into 6th, which if there's any shifting down of playoff spots, which there likely will be, would already be in the playoffs. And now actually with a good enough first could make a play towards a guaranteed position, especially since he can take points directly away from Viet, who on losing 32 points here is now in danger of losing his guaranteed spot. Especially since things are much tighter from 3rd to 5th with only 11.7 points splitting them there.
Yeah, he can only take a small third in the last game and keep that slot. So I expect some, well, I would say careful play, but I think he's always careful. I think
Yeah,
I don't
With
know
his-
what you
with
can
his
really do
dealing
about a
rate.
game like, yeah.
just had bad luck this time. And Jessa with the
That,
minus 12.8 is still totally viable. Now, one question I had, because I know, so the top is getting shifted down 1 at least. Is the same happening at the bottom?
I believe so, yes.
Everything gets moved
So
down.
we're
So
just not sure yet whether it's 1 or 2, I believe.
But wouldn't that reduce the size of C1? Oh, right. New people are coming in. That's right. That's a very good point. I said that. Nathaniel was the one who suggested that, and you can't hear Nathaniel, but yes, that makes sense. So yeah, everything getting shifted down a little bit is going to help out Eric a lot, give Viet a little bit more breathing room. But not much. I mean, that's really only 3 points. Like, that doesn't help Viet much.
It's only 3 points. Because we're not sure if it's 1 or 2, we can only assume 1.
Right.
Right, which barely makes a difference.
Quinn is at 50.8.
Yes, and as noted, yeah, if we can only assume 1, Eric is now in a playoff slot if he unless he gets almost any negative score here.
Yeah, well, the all negative scores are guaranteed to be at least negative 5.1, because 30K puts you.
Yeah. So a negative second can be.
Oh yeah, you're right, because you get plus 0
less than 5.
So if you were at 29.9,
usually in most cases any negative is more than that. So this is gonna be quite a fight.
Yeah, I mean, once again, we're in a spot where literally every single player is has something to fight for. Yeah, and the table is taking a quick break before the final Hanchan. I believe we will do the same. Give everybody a second to take a breather, relax, prepare for the wildly intense final Hanchan we're about to see from this table. So come back in a few minutes, and we'll give you a 5-minute warning in the chat before the game starts. Oh, it's 2 minutes away from starting? They already started? Well, 2-minute break then. And we are back for the 4th and final Hanchan for this table. As was noted before, everybody has something to fight for. Jin with a big enough first could get into a playoff slot. Jessa with a big second or a reasonable first could get into a playoff spot. Eric is currently in a playoff spot since everything's being shifted down 1, but can't really afford to lose anything since Quinn has already played all 4 games and is resting at that 50.8, and Viet really needs to avoid a last place if he is to stay in the guaranteed promotion slots. And many thirds would drop him down into a playoff as well. So a lot to fight for here. North is Dora, and we see that Jin, heathenly dropped the Dora pay on the first drop.
Dora,
which I disapprove of heavily, not because it's a bad play, but because the Dora pay is the most precious and special time. Take that, 3-so. You heard me say it. We do have a nice little Ishanten on the right for Jessa. Would almost certainly end up in a Champon wait unless some sideways moves are made, but can call the Hatsu. Now Jin as well can call the Chun. Although Jin not Ishanten.
Viet also Ishanten, Ryeonmin.
Yeah, it takes a slightly better. I would still consider this a perfect Ishanten. Any tile you draw, you still end up with a Ryeonmin weight at the end. Eric holding on to that Chun, kind of choking it out from Jin here.
Each.
There's the 4.
And there it is.
Richinomi.
4s are mostly held, but 1s are entirely live.
Yeah, no 1-sos anywhere to be seen. If Jessa draws the 3-so, could end up in a little bit of trouble. Oh, actually deals it in before that. So that's gonna be Richi no Ura.
But just Richi no Mi, so
we got out of our trend of just Jessa and Eric passing the first 2 hands back and forth in the last Hanchan. Viet gets the first win here, and we have an Anko of Hatsu for Jessa. 1 pin is Dora. This hand could get 4, 5, 6 Sanshoku on top of the Hatsu, though. It is 2 away.
And we are seeing some increased assertive play from Viet, who does not want to give anybody else a chance to sumo his points away.
That 6 pin's a nice draw. Jin getting an Anko of the 1-so makes that hand a little bit more tenable. Still needs some work, though.
Chi.
Kind of an unremarkable 2 away. And this is going to be a Honitsu from Viet. Could end up Itsu as well. There's a 7.
What a draw. That's still Ishanten.
Indeed.
But
and you're not going to end up you're not going to end up with the Itsu on any draw here, but you are 2 draws away from Itsu. If you draw, say, 3 pin, then drop a 2 pin, well, no, and then draw a 4 pin and drop a 5 pin, you'd have a shot at Itsu, but that's a lot of ifs.
I feel like you just end up with Hondora 1.
There's Tenpai.
Oh, that's okay.
1 pin, 3 pin.
So it takes.
And part of what makes this nice, part of what makes this weight so nice is you have 3 of the 2 pin. That's going to make it very hard for people to use the 1 pin. At most, 1 person can use the 1 pin in a run. And as we can see, that's Jin. Anybody else who draws the 1 pin is going to have to make it a pair to not deal in. And if you draw the 4 pin before you win, you can still shift into an Itsu. And there's that extra 1 pin. Now, Jin might be reading this as a Tenpai Honitsu. Deals in anyway.
Yeah, I mean, understandable.
And we move into East 3 here. Yet our dealer is in first place. 1-so is Dora. Can now accept that 1-so. The hand pretty iffy other than that. The Mansu's okay, but too many pin.
It does need some work. Yeah.
Tossed away the 1-2 pin immediately.
Well, only one too many Penchon now.
And these draws have been pretty great. Just keeps making things happen. Eric with a pair of Souths, the Sweet Wind on the right. Ooh, takes the 1-2-3 chi. I wonder if this is going to end up Atuzeke on the south, or if Eric has some other ideas.
I imagine that it's on the south.
I mean, because now Viet really thinking about discarding that 8-9 Pinchon. Like, is he willing to feed what looks like a Honitsu? I mean, those two Wests in the Chun discard make it look less so. But then you might be thinking, well, is it a Chinitsu? Like, what exactly is going on over there?
It's early enough. Yeah. Get it out of your hand now.
5-pin Tenpai for Jin across the way. Jin, as we said, needs a pretty sizable first place. Is Dama currently. Ooh, now we'll see. Okay. Is angling for the 7-8-9 Sanshoku, it seems. Because if she draws the 7-pin to get to Tenpai there, that would be Richi, Pinfu, Sanshoku, and then oh no! But if she had held on to the 6-0, she would have the Sanshoku and Tanyao now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Just every decision Jin has made has backfired. We now have Tenpai for Eric.
Yeah, on 3-6, which looks okay. Oh,
yeah.
Well, okay enough.
Immediately grabs it from Jessa. And honestly, if you're Viet, that's fine. Like,
it is fine, yeah.
A skinny first, a skinny second, with so many people having already finished their games, and the people who haven't finished being far enough below you, you're totally chill with just barely maintaining your position. It's a pretty decent hand for Eric here.
So far, this game is going much faster. Already on East 4.
Yeah, that second Hanchan really dragged on. Was almost exactly double the length of the first Hanchan. 66 minutes and some change as opposed to 33 minutes and some change.
Eric now Ishan 10, though looks like it's going to end up on a Shabo unless some choice draws happen.
Good chi here.
Good call.
Chi. Go ahead and drop Dora.
Does.
Good old 3-7
upgrades here. Yeah,
there's actually quite a lot of upgrades. Though. Like the 7-so especially would be incredible because then you have a San Minchan. That's an upgrade. Discard 6-so.
That works.
Wait, 2-so, 5-so. Boom. And actually on 2-so, you even get Sanshoku.
Oh, that 2-so looks. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we see two 2-so that are lightly held in hands here.
And there it is.
Jessa deals in first.
And that was the expensive end. Now, the expensive end was only 2,900, so not a massive hit, but still. It's not what Jessa needs. Now we have a couple of pairs here for Eric of honors. The South, not Yakuhai yet. The Haku is, of course. And actually, Viet and Jin already with the other Haku in hand. I imagine those come out fairly early. Jin might have Jin, well, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, that's the clear play there. 1-2-3 Sanshoku, a possibility for Jen.
And that would give her some of the value she needs going into her final dealership. A nice sideways movement for Eric there, drawing the 5-so. Jessa getting more and more dependent on filling in that 8-9 Pinchon in the Sozu. Really needs to upgrade a different shape soon.
Eric can now pwn into Tenpai.
Ooh.
Takes the Ryokan shape here.
Yeah, and it is really kind of playing towards getting the pawn for Tenpai. It's either get a pawn or end up Shabo.
You kind of hope for the Chi first, I think.
There it is.
Even if you can't use the Dora.
Because the once cut south, being a guest wind, is just going to be so easy to come out. Especially since your hand doesn't look Honitsu. If it looked like you were going Honitsu, people would be a lot more reticent. But since you have dropped so many pin tiles, including the Dora, like nobody cares really about dealing into your hand. Like people are going to be trying to create their own value. There's a 5-so. Doesn't get dropped. Certainly many better candidates to get dropped from that hand.
Yes.
There's a Dora, and that fits in quite nicely. Viet actually dropping the pair of 1 pins, playing safe tiles. Not dropping the north, which is live?
Very cautious.
Yeah,
the north is live. The Haku is not.
Yeah, the Haku and the Hatsu both confirmed safe. The north was just dropped by Jessa.
Reach.
And there's a chase. 4-mon 2-pin. Have we seen Jessa turn down a Ricci yet? Oh, and well, this would be for a 10.
Yeah, you can't take that. Not when you're still hoping that the south is your most likely.
Sumo.
There's the Apatsumo on the 4-mon. It's exactly what she needed. So that'll be Ricci, Apatsu, Sumo, Dora. No Ura, but that's still a Mongon.
Yeah, Mongon.
That really evens things out for everyone except for Jin. Jin now the only person below 30k going into South 1. Jessa elevated herself to a nice second. I mean, first, second, and third, all within 1,300 of each other. Nope, 2,300. I can count, I promise. This is an interesting hand for Jin. I mean, if you can draw around the 6-so and the 6-pin, you can, and that's a good draw as well. The 3-mon definitely.
That's a good
helpful.
draw, yeah.
I mean, this is 2 Shanten. You just really like to get something better than that Kanchan, or maybe incorporate a Dora 9-mon somehow.
Yeah, these 2 pairs in that Kanchan, it's not fantastic.
Although we do see Jessa has a lot of cruft in her hand. Just a plethora of Kanchans on the right. Viet has okay shapes, but once again is holding on to a lot of honors pretty late. I think he started out with several.
Really needs 2 entire new blocks.
Which is quite the position to be in with 3 complete shapes. There's a pair.
Okay, well, now needs one new block. That's a step.
Trying to decide between the west and the east what to cut first. Decides on the west. Eric getting an improvement. Now Ishanten. Well, wait. Is there a pair in that hand? There's no pair in that hand.
Eric's hand.
So no Ishanten. 2 Shanten.
Yeah.
Viet, though, with a very good draw. Pulls in the 4-so.
Yeah, that makes that Ishanten look much better. And now the 2-mon can go. I think
now Eric
that draw helps Eric.
Yeah, discards have a 9-mon. Oh, well, but the 9's Dora.
I think you have to cut it.
If you do cut 7-9, I think I like cutting the 9-mon first.
I think you have to cut the 9 first. Well, now it's been cleared for you, so.
It's going to Katagiri the 4-pin instead. Jin Ishanten has been Ishanten for a little bit here.
Switches to the Ryokan for.
Yeah, well,
this doesn't feel like.
two 7-pin.
Now we have a Pinfu Dama from Eric.
If you draw a 6-0, you
On
can
3-pin,
slide
6-pin.
this into Sanshoku. Eric has been Damaing a lot. So much Dama from Eric today. Yeah, the Dora perfectly fine to discard for Jin there. Jessa does eventually deal into Eric for the Pinfu Nomi. That is going to swap their positions. Leave Viet in first, leave Jin in last. So Jin no longer has a dealership, but the scores are close enough that she doesn't really need one just to get a first. The only issue is the quality of the first.
Right.
Because with placements only moving down 1, that doesn't really help Jin. Because that would still leave Jin needing a little less than plus 50. If placements move down 2, a Jin first and Jessa not first could be enough. That's very variable. And it does also help that both... I mean, everybody towards the bottom here does have games to play. So a lot of movement could still happen in the bottom of B3A.
Yeah. You just don't... You would like to not have to rely on that, if possible.
Jessa
It never
is
feels so good to be watching someone else's game, hoping they lose so that you can secure a position.
Letting your fate be determined by someone else. I actually prefer it though, personally, because that means the pressure isn't on me to get something very specific. I kind of like getting my session 6 games out of the way and just being like, I don't have to think about it, instead of being like, well, I need exactly 13 points. That means I need like exactly
I can see it. I can see it.
I'm not like Nathaniel. I'm not gonna be getting 0.1 on the side of what I need. There's Tempai for Jessa waiting on. Oh, takes the Champon, 3-mon 4-so. Could have taken the 3-so 6-so, and perhaps would have won immediately there, but took the Champon instead.
I'm a little curious. I don't necessarily think that's the right play, but
on Sumo it does increase. Well,
リーチ
on Sumo it increases
Jen?
it, but only because it would be counted as closed. On Roll it doesn't.
Richi's on Ipeko on a Kanchan 3-mon weight.
So that's Tanya.
Tanya Ipeko.
So 3-mon would be a double deal in here.
3-mon now trapped.
And actually trapped against both players.
Oh yeah, I guess it was already. Well,
oh, there's a con!
I guess you trust.
Flips the south as the new Dora, helps no one, but now you've got more Fu.
I guess you trust 3-mon a little less because of the Richi tile Ryankon business.
But when you're playing defense against 2 people, often you're kind of forced.
Yeah, it could end up being someone's best choice.
Well, and now that Richi makes Jin's hand a lot scarier, and there's the 3-mon coming into Viet's hand, that actually helps it.
It fits in both other players' hands.
There's only one more. I think there's no way Viet deals in at this point. There's the Sumo from Jin. And we'll see what that con ends up costing Jessa. It was already a Mongon, and that's all it's going to be. No Ura. That still puts Jessa in last, though.
Right.
And Jin just barely in first. Jin still needs more points, though. Like, this first is not anywhere near enough.
This thin first is not going to do it. This is plus 17.
But now Viet and Eric with a little bit more control of the game as they have the last two dealerships. Viet with not a fantastic looking hand has 4 pairs, but I mean not pairs that look especially callable for Toy Toy.
I am never a fan of when I pull up like a Cheetoy hand as dealer. I never want this.
Yeah, if I get a cheat toy hand as dealer, I really want it to be faster. I want to already be Ishanten, and this is a good move. So Ishanten at turn 4 here for Viet. Not a lot of Dora in people's hands. Jessa has 1, but that's it. Jessa also now has the closed Hatsu. Could hit up Dora Tonki, as a matter of fact.
Oh, yeah.
Be really fun. Be really fun to see Jessa draw another 9-pin, and then Ricci on the Dora 6-pin, waiting double Suji Trap Shabo.
Home.
There's the pawn from Eric. It's going to skip Jessa and Viet. All right, keeping the 3
the weight.
It's live currently, so there's 1 more left out than the 2. So it's also a
I'm very familiar with the Cheetoy Ishanten dance.
No one needs a Haku. Get that out of here. Eric with a slightly better Ishanten here.
That is technically more live than the 2, yeah.
We do have the 4-7 Tenpai for Eric now.
Oh, unfortunate kind of backfire on the non.
Yeah, you kind of have to ignore all backfires when it comes to Cheetoy. There's just too many
you can't.
of them. And where are the 4-7 so? We only see 3 of them right now. There's 20 draws left. And there's a Ricci. Dora Tonki? Or are we going to take the wide away?
Dora Tonki, of course.
Dora Tonki.
Of course.
Wasn't a Dora? No Dora has been discarded yet. So there's 1 Dora left in the wall for Jessa here. And this would be a huge win if she's able to pull it off. Is 8-mon or 5-mon discardable for Jin? Yes, Jin pushes the 8-mon. Hatsu does look sketch. It's live. And it is a fact that Jessa has it. It's just she doesn't need another one.
Chi.
There's a Chi from Jin. Tenpai waiting on 2-so, 5-so. Most of which are gone. Only 2 left in the wall. 4-pin is fine.
4 has been recently cleared.
It's only not entirely safe against Eric, and I don't know. Ooh, there's the 6-pin though. 7-pin was just dropped.
Sumo.
So 7-pin was 100% safe. There's the sumo though for Eric. On the Haite. The final tile in the wall was one of those elusive 7-sos. And that Haite is actually really significant for Viet. I mean, that ends up being enough to drop Viet below 30k.
At least right now, only a -6. But he can't let it become any worse.
Right. So Viet really would like, I mean, everybody needs to win this hand. There's nobody who is like, you know what? I'm good. Like, every single person here needs to win this hand because, I mean, Hanuman Sumo would be disastrous if someone were able to get that against Eric here. Because Hana Monsumo would drop him underneath 30k, and that would drop him below Quinn more than likely. I guess you might just end up minus 1.2, which would be okay.
Yeah. Eric is okay not winning the hand. He just can't afford to get dunked on, basically.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those situations where I think with the points as they are, well, I mean, but Michael V could still pass you. So you do kind of want to stretch out as much as you can.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
If you get past,
that is a threat.
If you get past Alon, you're almost certain.
That looks like you would have to go on. We would have to have another extended South 4 here with a couple of lucky. I mean, this is a Shanten for a pretty well. Let's see. Oh, that Shabo's half dead already, but it still is pretty sneaky.
I mean, Jessa looks the furthest along here, but it's not the points that Jessa needs either. I mean, if not coming in fourth would be pretty huge for Jessa. But she needs a couple more Dora, or to just discard all of her Monzu and take this Honitsu. Well, the issue here is passing Viet isn't really enough for Jessa. Like, Jessa really wants to get above 30k. Like, even if she's able to tie or pass Viet, that still leaves her negative, which just straight up is not good enough, especially according to how much Jin's second is. I guess she'd still be above Jin. But we have the North Formon Shabo here for Eric. The North is once cut, so it could very easily come out of someone's hand if someone were to draw it. And that would extend the game.
Oh, yeah, and as pointed out, the Formon is Nakasuji, which is generally speaking pretty safe.
Is that Tenpai? Yeah, Jess is Tenpai now if she discards Tumon. Did get the second Dora. So this is enough to get above 30k. If she sumos it, that would even be enough to get into second. So a 3-mon, 5-mon sumo would be absolutely massive for Jessa. Because while a second isn't ideal with the people... Oh, no, but there's the 4-mon sumo. So very good for Eric. It gets to Ura! Flips the pay! And that drops Jin below 30K.
That's great for Eric.
It's fantastic for Eric. I mean,
pretty horrible for everybody else.
worst case scenario for everyone else. Yes.
Well,
I mean, if you're Eric,
actually,
you almost
Jessa's sumo would have been the worst case scenario for Viet.
Yes, because that would have put Viet in last. I mean, Viet has not escaped that reality. That reality still has the potential to exist here. Jessa winning big off of Eric, or a big Jessa sumo, could still spell disaster for Viet. Would at the very least drop Viet out of the guaranteed slots. But we see here 6-pin is Dora. We have one of those in Eric's hand. Eric has perfectly fine Monzu, but the Sozu are still not coming together, even as we get towards the end of row 1. Jin has 4 pairs. Again, that hand leaves a lot to be desired, but can still go somewhere. But the problem is Jin needs something much bigger than that. Viet has 4 9-mon, is in an incredibly awkward Ishanten here.
It really is. But at least you know that con's never going to happen because the shape is too good. So
What you really need is to draw either 9-so or pay. And then you can go for Chanta. There's the 3-so. That's Tenpai. Staying Dama for now, because that's not enough to get above 30k.
yeah, that weight is pretty gnarly.
Oh,
As
immediately
well.
drew another north. I mean, all the 7-so are in Jess's hand. An interesting shift here for Viet. What do you think he's planning?
I don't know. I think if you draw 5-so, you have a 30-10 3-sided.
But it doesn't increase the value of your hand. It actually reduces it
No.
because you lose Fu. More likely to sumo, I suppose.
Really? So
I mean, it's possible that Viet is just trying to play safe and get to exhaustive draw, but
right.
I don't know
Because
that
if
Eric needs exhaustive draw here. I mean, Eric discarding Adora. Could have discarded away from the discarded something from the 1-1-2-3 shape to try and keep Adora in hand.
Eric's situation is interesting because on the one hand, like declining Tenpai just to secure your first place is like not the worst idea, but you still have a 40-point gap to make up. You're not quite there.
I mean, it'd be plus 36, so you end up 44 ahead of Michael V. So with the stuff
so
giving
you're still
down
in an okay position.
Right, like with
you're not guaranteed, but it's a pretty good position. And it looks like
I mean, he might just naturally not reach Tenpai here. There's Tenpai for Jessa.
sure.
Yeah, that's gonna be no 10 for Eric.
Oh, so this game is now over.
It is possible to get a deal in on the final tie here, but it's not going to happen. And actually, with this, the points are going to change. Viet does pass Jin. Since Jin lost 1,500 and Viet got
that may have been the plan from the start, at least ideally.
Yeah, although, you can't really bank on Jin being no 10.
You can't, no, but you could hope that that's the way it goes because that hand just never really.
Because minus 9.5 would have been enough to drop Viet. As it is though, minus 3.4, he holds on to one of the guaranteed ups there. Eric with the plus 35.3 puts himself in a very good position to make the playoffs with the positions all moving down one. Jin and Jessa, unfortunately, just were not able to get what they needed. I mean, I think everybody went pretty close to plus minus 0 in these 4 games. Like these scores are not too dissimilar from where they started.
Eric went up and Viet went down about 20. I think.
But even just 20 is not a huge movement. Like I think we saw just 4 really solid games there. And now if you're Jessa and Jin, you're really hoping that the bottom of the division gets pummeled.
Yeah, or hoping that or at least hoping that the Haida situation gives you the two bumps instead of one.
Oh, Jessa actually hasn't played the last 2 games. So it's not that Jessa missed 2 games, it's just that 2 still need to be I guess, made up
I had
from other times.
assumed that. Oh, well, I apologize. I had assumed that the scheduling probably didn't. There are so many 18s here. I didn't know who was a part of what,
Yeah, I
like,
mean, there's been a lot of ones,
situation where.
but that means Jessa still has time. That's good. Like, oh, it's because of the Tin Ho crowd.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Or yes, 2 days ago. That
Oh,
was?
right. Okay. Well, yeah. So sorry for assuming.
But all right, that definitely puts Jessa in a better position here. She still has a shot. It's just gonna take some powering through to get past Miguel and Blake there. Especially, she's directly against Quincy and Miguel, so that actually helps out a ton.
Oh, that's interesting.
And James, who's a bit further down, which is actually just introducing more danger, really. Yeah, but after that, the top looks pretty set. Like nothing is definitive yet. I mean, but in the top from 10th up, like there's only 3 players who have games left to play, and that's Rob, Michael, and Kayla. And Rob is like pretty far away
Yeah.
from getting into the playoffs. Michael V is a little bit closer, but still needs like quite a bit of push. And then Kayla is pretty far above the playoff line, so I mean, could even take 2 small lasts and still guaranteed
Sure.
get into
Yeah.
D2, or like a last and a third. So, the top half of the division, not a lot more movement even can really happen. It's not set by any means, but it's definitely there's definitely much more to watch at the bottom half of B3 here. But with
Definitely. Well, we will. Yeah, we will just have to see. We don't know. I don't know if we'll be catching the rest of the B3 games here. It's possible, but glad that we caught this one. This was definitely an intense table to watch.
Oh yeah, I'm very glad that we got to cast this table. It was incredibly good play. It was proof that B3 does not mean worse Mahjong. There's strength all up and down the entire ARML. Like this was a very very strong table that we got to see. It was very exciting to watch. Do you have any other closing thoughts before we sign off here?
Man, I this was a weirdly tiring 3 hour 20-minute stream. So I think head empty for me. So
Hey, well that's good. It's very important every night before you go to sleep, go through the nightly ritual of completely emptying your head so that you have no bad dreams. It increases your mahjong flow. It lets the tiles fill in the empty space the next morning. It's a very important ritual for everyone in the ARML. I will be posting a vlog post about it soon. Keep an eye out for that. But for more serious content, be sure to follow us at American Ricci on Twitter so that you know when we are going to be broadcasting. Both when we don't give you as much warning like today, or when we give you a lot of warning, like What Would You Do Wednesdays. If you would like to join the American Ricci Mahjong League yourself, go to our homepage at americanricci.org. And there is, at this point, I'd like to know the exact number, but I imagine like millions of hours of Mahjong content that you can watch at tinyurl.com/ARMLYT.
only a slight exaggeration.
I'm
Only
doing.
slightly.
I did some calculations on the side here, and as a mathematician, I could say I think I'm within at least 5 orders of magnitude. Um, so there's much
Well,
to see there, much to learn.
we'll have to post a snapshot of the back of Tucker's envelope on that one. So
Yeah, as soon as I have a camera, I will get to that. And make sure that here on Twitch you like us, follow us, subscribe, whatever. I don't think subscribe is the thing here on Twitch. There's a little red heart and you want to click that and make it a pretty color. And then you're following us and you'll get notifications whenever we go live, as you should. But it has been a wonderful cast. Thank you very much for joining, and thank you to Nathaniel, who so often makes things run so smoothly in the background as our broadcast director, giving us quippy, sarcastic comments in the background so that we don't miss too much. And I hope everyone has a wonderful night. This is Michael, Nathaniel, and Ennui signing off for the ARML.